Well, happy Friday. We made it, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Great to be here with you on a Friday, as you just heard in the open. We are Ben and Woods. We are on 97.3 The Fan. Let's get our heads right on a Friday. I am Woodsy, and that to my right is Paul Reindl. He is the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
To my left is Higgins, Ben Higgins. Posting his martini last night.
Vacation Ben.
Oh, my
Still
God.
in effect.
No, staycation Ben.
Staycation Ben in effect. What do you think, by the way?
You look.
Are you impressed?
The exact same. Literally the exact same.
What do you mean? I've got. This is my. What do you think of my beard?
Oh my God! I just noticed.
This is a week.
That's a week?
That's a week. That's why I never have had one before. But there we go. There's a week of vacation.
Paulie, he has a little stub.
Yeah.
Rough.
Look at this.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh,
This is what I get on staycation. This is staycation bearded Ben.
6 years of working with you. I've never seen one hair on your chinny chin.
Takes a while. It really, you got to work at it here. So this is a week. This is a weekend.
So I think that you should let it flow. Am I insane? Look at him. Don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Why can't you? They're not going to make you. I see people on the news with beards.
I just don't know that it'll ever get to an actual beard.
All right. Well, now you can't shave it. Look at mine, Dr. Richard Kimball.
Rally beard.
That's what I'm
We got the
saying.
Rally Roach.
They've been playing so well, you can't shave it now, especially going
The
into
rally started long before the beard.
It did, but now that we have Colorado, our arch nemesis, and literally if you're the San Diego Padres, the Colorado Rockies are the best baseball team of all time. They're the 98 Yankees. They're the 98 Padres. They're the Mariners that won 116. They're the Bulls, the 72-10 Bulls. They're the Dolphins. You can't shave that. You can shave it, but wait till after the weekend because you don't have anything to do this weekend.
I'm definitely waiting until at least Sunday night, which is when I'm on TV.
How
again,
good does that look, everybody?
Padres sweep
Can
the
anyone
Rockies.
see anything? I mean, if I hadn't pointed it out, would anyone have? You didn't notice when I walked in,
but I felt it, dude. He actually has some stubble there. I did not know he was capable of growing stubble because he has always said he's really not.
It takes a week to get to stubble.
That's amazing. I want to see what it looks like after a few days.
If the Padres sweep the Rockies, you don't shave until the regular season, or until this Padres season is over.
Yes. Look at this.
I'll keep it on
Hopefully
until
long
they
into
lose.
October.
At least. I don't know if.
Yeah, keep it on until
I'll
they
keep
lose.
it on until they lose.
That's fine. That's a good deal.
Which, if they sweep them, means I'll have it on TV on Sunday night, which would be interesting.
Spicy.
Which would be they would go. Is everything all right with Ben? Is Ben okay? Because you are always fresh-faced.
Well, they knew I was on staycation this week, so people come back from staycations with beards. No one wants to shave on staycation.
I don't really like shaving all that much anyway, but this is... Somebody said the other day, and it stuck with me, and I didn't bring attention to it in the chat, but I yawned in the middle of the show. I do apologize. But they said when Woodsy yawns, he looks like the Cowardly Lion. And I've been thinking about it.
Bert Lahr.
So, here, let me do like a fake. Let me see if I can summon a yawn, and you tell me.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay?
I saw that.
'Cause
Absolutely.
It's this like weird white and gray facial hair that I have. Yeah,
I
Cowardly
need
Lion.
some courage.
Yeah, I need some courage. There's no question. Well, I think it looks good. I think you should let it flow. I mean, you have to let it flow now. You don't want to.
I don't want to be the one that breaks up the streak.
Ray says the Yankees would still let you play.
Yeah.
I am on the bench. Paulie, let me see what you're working.
Yeah, well, Paulie's on the
you're
bench,
on the bench. Yeah, we're benched.
Oh,
Yeah,
You're
I'm
still in the lineup. Ben, you're getting the start today.
I'm requesting a trade.
Yeah. You want to get the hell out of there. That's awesome. Yeah, let it grow. I've never seen that, man. 6 years. Bad boy Ben is finally here. I can't wait for the leather vest version of Ben. What if he just went like full, like
midlife crisis?
Midlife
Ben.
crisis Harley guy would be my favorite.
Harley guy.
Yeah, he shows up on it's like a Harley, but it's like a little Harley. Like it's like a real little, like a Sportster. And it's like still cool, but it's not like big chopper, full midlife crisis. But I think it looks really good. I think you should let it flow. And hopefully you do. You can't shave it until they lose. All right, that's the deal. That's an easy bet.
I would love to be the one that gets them through this weekend in Colorado.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you. Me too. I am as nervous for these games as I've been all season. And I am every time we play at Coors Field. We had Bob Scanlon on maybe last year, and I brought it up, and he tried to poo-poo it on the air. And I was like, Scan, Have you seen the record there? Like, you know what these guys are. They play at gangbusters when they play the Padres. Buddy Black must have that chip on his shoulder because he likes beating his former team, certainly. But yeah, man, it's this is one of those series. If somebody goes, Woodsy, I got you, all expenses paid, tickets, got great seats for you, all expenses paid. Come on out to Denver and watch these 3 games. Let's say there's no way. The expletives that fly out of my mouth when we're playing this team are they're NC-17. I mean, every word in my vocabulary comes out. The C word, the MF, the CS, all of it comes out against these guys. So that's what I'm looking forward to this weekend. A weekend of very, very high blood pressure. Ivan wants to know where I got my shirt. This is Tony Gwynn hitting a beach ball.
Figurative. There's a comparison on the screen between Woods
Let me see it.
and the Cowardly Lion. A little pop up for you in a second. There
My God. Now,
it's more the nose than the actual beard and the.
With the king.
I don't
of
have
the studio.
I don't have jowls like that yet. I do not have jowls like that yet. Damn it, Paul. I hate that you're so quick on the uptake there, buddy. I got this shirt at Baseballism. My beautiful wife, Hannah, bought it for me. Tony Gwynn hitting a beach ball, which is really, really cool.
Because he saw the ball really well. It looked like a beach ball coming
That's
at him.
exactly right. That's exactly right. So, we got Cal Quantrill today, so that should be fun. Anyway, so we'll get into all that this weekend. How was your staycation? Is going well? It's almost over.
Yeah, I cut back a little from 5 cocktails to 4 yesterday, just to moderate myself for the Friday show. I didn't want to be as hungover as I was yesterday. Had a painkiller by the pool.
It's funny. I had a painkiller too.
Did you?
Yeah, but the actual pill because I went to the dentist yesterday.
Oh, ouch.
And remember when I had the oral surgery? They had to lengthen my crown. And it was like gum surgery. It didn't feel great. But they gave me some Percocet after, which, worth it. But it didn't hurt at all. Like, I took one the night I got home and was like, I'm good. The next day I felt great. This one I went in to get, I broke a tooth while I was in Hawaii on a rib.
You're not supposed to eat the bones.
You know the one little
edge
the
bone,
edge part?
Yeah, you think it's meat?
Yeah, you think it's meat.
And then you bite into it and it was bone.
So I spit out it was like a portion of a tooth, and so this was the tooth we were going to crown anyway. So I lay down yesterday. He starts taking pictures. He goes, "Whew, you got lucky." And I go, well, "Why?" And he goes, "It broke perfectly. We were going to crown this one anyway, so you're actually in good shape." Because I do have to dig out this filling and all that. This is not going to be great. So gives me 3 shots in my mouth. It never feels good to numb the pain. They start working on it, and I give it the wince. I go, and he goes, "Oh, do you feel that?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes,
Yeah,
hang on,
I
let me
feel
give you
it.
another shot. So he gives me 2 more shots in my mouth. So 5 shots deep, and I'm laying there just sweating. And I had a headache from the anxiety of going to the dentist anyway. So then the drill comes out. And then the smell of burning tooth comes in. And then I swallow a mouthful of burnt tooth water, or spit. Swallow that. So I'm laying there. I haven't eaten anything, by the way. I had that one cookie. And I'm laying there going, this is absolute torture. It was just torture. Finally, after about an hour and 20 minutes in there, I got up and he's like, all right, we're all done. And I was like, I texted you guys. I go, I feel like somebody held me down, took a hammer, and hit me in the face with it. But I had those Percocets that I had saved. So I went home and had a painkiller myself, and everything was right as rain after that. But man, the dentist is it's such a necessary evil. And I love my dentist. Paula, you go to my dentist. Dr. Skeens is the GOAT. Here's the problem.
Dr. Skeens?
Yeah, Dr. Skeens. Like
Not
Paul
really.
Skeens. He's the dentist of the year.
No, he's not.
He was
He was the runaway.
He was the runaway dentist of the year.
year.
Yeah, no. It's Dr. Merrill. So, listen, he's the literal GOAT of dentists. That being said, I think he's too detail oriented. He's too good. And I was like, I think you got it. I think we're good. Let's just move on. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm 49. I don't have much time left anyway. Let's let's half-ass this thing so I can get out of here and get out of this pain that I'm in. He's like, well, just one more thing. I'm like, oh my God, please.
They're always perfectionists.
And this dude is, he is the best. But so it was not, it wasn't my favorite day. We had the round table, and then we went right into the dentist, and that was that. But speaking of the round table, I thought we had a good one yesterday here on 97.3 The Fan, brought to you by Round Table Pizza royalty. I will say this. I'm not sitting next to Tony Gwynn Jr. anymore because I kept looking up at the camera, and it was me and next to him. And I said, this isn't fair. He's devastatingly handsome. And I was sitting next to him, and he was talking. I was looking at him. I'm like, I don't want to sit next to him. Put me in the middle of Ello and Craig, and have somebody else. No, I'm just saying, I wasn't fair. I don't want to sit next to Tony. I love Tony Gwynn Jr., but sitting next to him, I was like, well, this sucks. Like if you walked in a bar and we were sitting at the bar and you're a single lady, you'd be like, that's the one. That's the guy I like right there. Very, very handsome dude. Put together, the whole thing. Built.
If you were a single woman and you walked into a bar and they were having a Padres round table in the middle of the bar.
Right.
Yeah, your eyes would go straight to Tony.
Because he is so handsome. He had his hat on backwards. He had his cool earring. And I was just sitting there. It's just a slob. And I was like, this sucks, man.
Not even with my stubble now. I mean, maybe give me on my best day and Tony's worst day.
No,
give me a chance.
Don't do this. Do not do this. Do not do this.
Not again.
Don't do this again. No, you will lose in the handsome contest to Tony Gwynn Jr. I'm telling you right now.
Every time.
He's so handsome. And I thought you did a great job, Benny. That was not an easy one to moderate yesterday because the team's playing great. All of our worries are now. That was as of yesterday. There could be a whole different one on Thursday. I hope it's not. I hope the good vibes continue and the team keeps winning. But it is. It was we actually had a really fun time chopping it up.
It was nice to have everybody back together. It's been a while since the entire crew got together for a round table. And yeah, I mean, the reason why you're so nervous about Coors Field this weekend, though, is there are now actual stakes and consequences. When you play well, it just means that every loss stings a little bit more.
This is the last time they go out there, right?
Yeah, this is the last series against the Rockies this season.
Can you imagine?
If we had 3 at the end?
Right at the end of the year in Denver, not a chance.
I want to ask Shildt today when we talk to him at 9:00. We kicked it around. I don't know if he'll answer this question or if he'll if there is a right answer, but if you got 18 games in 18 days, would you rather start in Coors Field for the first 3 or end at Coors Field for the last 3? Because my gut tells me I think I'd rather start there. Get it out of the way.
I think you'd rather end knowing that at the end of the series, whatever happens, you've got a day off to reset. The worst possible outcome is Coors Field craziness, and you got to eat the whole bullpen up for the first 3 days. Now you're looking at 15 straight more after that without a chance to really reset it. But they're nice and reset right now after what Martin Perez did on Wednesday and then the off day yesterday. They're going into this series locked and loaded and ready to go for the next 18.
Yeah, they are. It is funny too, how we look at that. I was thinking about it yesterday, how we look at bullpen resetting, and we all do this. I do it. We all do it. Guys, it's fine. They had a day off. They're good. It's an auto recharge. Just because Brian Hoeing had a day off yesterday, he immediately wakes up today. He's like,
like it's a video game, and you get 3 hits before you're dead.
Yes.
So you got some hearts that recharged your character up to full strength again.
You opened a chest and the heart came out and you got it. And so you're like, I now feel.
Because that's how life works, as
totally.
Everyone knows.
Oh, totally. Hey, see how rested I am after a day off? No, it's not auto. We all think it though, don't we?
Yeah.
I'm like, he threw 7 pitches on Monday. He threw 12 on Tuesday. Then he had Wednesday off. He's got to be ready to go at full strength on Thursday. It's dumb. It's stupid. We shouldn't do it, but it's the way that we are programmed. It's just the way of this business. Guys, the bullpen should be totally fine. They had 2 days. We have said that. Hey, he had an extra day of rest. There's no reason for him to go get
That's
shelled.
why everybody shows up to work Monday morning feeling absolutely fabulous,
perfect,
right?
Just perfect.
No one's ever had a case of the Mondays, right? Monday's the greatest day because everyone's so rested and ready to go and feeling great.
You got 2 days off. You should be raring to go. It is just absurd. And I'll tell you this right now, we shouldn't do it. And I know that that's not how it works in the big league bullpens and with the pitchers. I know it's constant communication with those guys. Constant communication. So looking forward to talking to the skipper at 9.
All right, we'll set the menu when we come back. Obviously, no game yesterday, but still a good day for your San Diego Padres yesterday. Well, they opened their chest, got their recharging hearts.
Yeah.
Some other teams in the pennant race were playing and not doing so well. So we'll talk about all of that coming up. Kelly's got a check of traffic on a Friday morning. Hopefully it'll be a good one for everybody out there. We're Ben and Woods and Paul on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. It's a FRIAR Friday, everybody. Happy FRIAR Friday to you. And here's what's coming up on the program today. Obviously, we will start looking ahead to the Padres Rockies series. I also want to talk about some of the reporting that went on yesterday with John Heyman in the New York Post. A lot of Padres adjacent reporting. Mm-hmm. Had a piece about the chances of every team to sign Juan Soto as a free agent in the offseason.
Very well worded.
Upset some Padres fans. He also linked the Padres to certain pitcher who won a Cy Young Award here, is now in San Francisco and could be a free agent again in another report. So lots of Heyman-esque activities yesterday involving your San Diego Padres.
Yeah. Weird dude.
Rookie of the Year voting is going to be about a month away, and the contest is getting quite close, according to odds makers. We can talk more about Paul Skeens and Jackson Merrill.
Yeah, but are we sleeping completely on Jackson Chourio? Are we completely? I was watching the game yesterday against the Dodgers. He's got pretty insane numbers as well. He's also a rookie, also an outfielder. Are we completely thinking that this is a two-man race right now with Jackson Merrill and Paul Skeens?
Did they bring him up soon enough?
Yeah, he's eligible.
He is, well, I mean, he's eligible. 274, 15 homers.
Yeah. How many bags? 16, 17?
He has, 16 stolen bases. He's played 108 games.
Yeah,
right, you know, he's got a 3 WAR, which is right in line with where I think Jackson Merrill's at 3.1.
And like Turby and Turby 44 in the chat says Churio's been hot since June. Yeah, he's been on a heater, dude. Like, are we completely? Now I know we're small market too here in San Diego, but Milwaukee also doesn't really get the pub, even though Devin Williams completely swiped a Rookie of the Year from Jake Cronenworth. I feel like they owe us one for that one.
It's concerning, though, that the Jackson vote could get split.
Yes.
And while the name is irrelevant, the fact that there will be people who favor position players and some who favor pitchers.
Sure.
Skeens' vote, maybe Shota Imanaga.
He was the
slices
runaway.
off one or two.
He was the runaway at the beginning of the year. He started like 7-0 and had a .79 ERA or something. He was crazy.
But that's an interesting point. And you know, I didn't even care about this at all until I was reminded that the Padres would get an extra first-round draft pick if Jackson Merrill wins the Rookie of the Year, which is absolute gold to AJ Preller. Just a free draft first-round pick out of nowhere that didn't really have to do anything for. That's fantastic. That's someone he trades away in a year to, add a starting pitcher to a pennant race that they didn't have to pay anything for. So,
no doubt.
That's, to me, the reason why you're pushing here hard for Jackson Merrill to try to win the Rookie of the Year award. But the odds have completely shifted, and we'll talk about that coming up a little bit later on the show today. Got our regular Friday and weekday features, including Take on Woods and Don't Do This. And then in the second half of Ben and Woods, Jordan Shusterman will join us from Cespedes Family Barbecue. It is that's our 8 o'clock feature. Those guys are always great. Reindl Report at 8:35, and then at 9 o'clock, FRIAR Friday, we got the manager. The skipper, Mike Shildt, will join us from Denver, Colorado, as his team not only gets set to start a quick road trip, but a stretch of 18 games in 18 days.
18 and 18, baby.
A real grind here for the Padres at this stage of the season. It's almost crazy because they were so far ahead in games played. You'd think, what happened to all these off days they should be having? Well,
no kidding.
They used a lot of them since the All-Star break.
Yeah.
But now that comes to an end, and they've got 18 games in 18 days, and then they'll have a few down the stretch the last, couple of weeks in September before the season is over, and hopefully it's on to the postseason for your San Diego Padres.
18 and 18 could be the name of the documentary when the San Diego Padres win the World Series this year. 18 games. What if we win all 18? I mean, where's the Rally Roach? Is he still here?
I got it.
Got to get the day started by giving the old Rally Roach a kiss, and please, God, let us beat Colorado. Let us beat Colorado. Chris Ello's pretty confident. He said, don't worry, Woodsy. We'll get 2 out of 3. I said, Chris, every time I start feeling confident about beating the Rockies, for some reason, the Brendan Rodgers and the Charlie Blackmons and all those guys.
Would you take 2 out of 3 right now? No chance, but there's no chance of a sweep.
I'd give you my second-born son, who you hate. I would give him to you right now for the weekend.
I'm not the only one, according to our chat either, by the way, this morning.
My wife was up early in the chat. She said, "Come get your kids. They're terrible right now, both of them."
But doing the Uncle Teddy, it's your kids when they act up.
Yes, they're my kids when they're turds. So they're mostly my kids.
My Padres and your Padres.
My Padres and your Padres.
But, 2 out of 3, well, it sounds great. You're giving up a game to the Diamondbacks, who just swept the Colorado Rockies. They did better.
I don't care.
You have to keep up with the Joneses at this point of the season.
I take 2 out of 3, and I don't look back. Don't you guys?
I think in
100%.
Coors Field, yeah.
In Coors Field, you take 2 out of 3, and you don't look back, and you never.
I think I'd take that at Petco Park.
Against them? Yeah, for some reason, yes, absolutely. Yeah. I'm so spun. I'm so spun about this series. I hate it. I hate it every year. I wish we never played those guys. I don't like them. I don't like anything about them. I don't like any of their players. I can't stand them. So, yeah. This is my World Series this weekend.
All right, well, we'll talk about the matchups of that series coming up in our next segment as we get rolling on Ben & Woods on a Friday. Glad to have everybody with us on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile. You can get tons of benefits, still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Use their savings calculator to find out how at T-Mobile.com/switch. So, Padres open their 3-game series against the Colorado Rockies tonight at Coors Field. We got the matchups for the series, at least the probable matchups for you. We will talk about the next 3 days right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Couple stalled vehicles here. One of them is blocking middle lanes of the Friars Road off-ramp south on 163, and in the North County, stalled motorcycle on the Auto Parkway on-ramp to northbound 15. And Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, so tonight's series opener, it's a 5:40 first pitch at Coors Field, 4:40 Eco Water SoCal pregame show with Sam Levitt, and the Padres will be once again facing former FRIAR Cal Quantrill, who will be making his first start since Padres beat him on August 4th. And I was trying to see, why didn't he start? Apparently he came out of that outing in which the Padres won 10-2 with some forearm soreness, and they pushed him back from what it would have been his next scheduled start until today, when he will return to the mound against the same team. Now, he didn't give up all of those 10 runs. I think he only gave up 4 of them, but that was a game the Padres actually played fairly well against the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah,
a rarity, a blowout win,
Yep.
and got that one. For the Padres tonight, on the mound will be Matt Waldron, who has not been quite as Matt Waldron-y sharp in his last few outings. Still has some of those first inning difficulties. And, at Coors Field, you worry because just the slightest bit of difficulties can really get out of hand sometimes there. So I'm sure everyone's going to be keeping a close eye and keeping their fingers crossed that Matt Waldron can survive some of those early struggles, dodge the one big inning that is occasionally a problem. When he does, he's been outstanding. He's been really terrific. But it's that one inning that does seem to get him when he gets got. And we'll see what happens at Coors Field. Pitched great last time at Coors Field. Did not seem to be bothered at all by the thin air, the altitude, the knuckleball. Still really knuckled. Well. Hey, doesn't the knuckleball need a lot of heavy air to bounce around? And didn't seem like he needed it in Colorado. But we'll see. Knuckleball every day seems to be a little bit different. You never know exactly what you're going to get.
Yeah, and again, I've talked before many times about first licks, and you're going to have an opportunity to stake Matt Waldron to a lead tonight. I think it's important. I think it's always important when you're on the road to try to strike first. It's a very obvious statement, but nowhere, in no situation is it more important than maybe tonight with Matt Waldron on the bump, with playing at the House of Horrors that is Coors Field. So it'd be nice to get out to a nice 2-3-4-0 lead because you do figure, based on current trends, Matt Waldron, there's a good possibility he gives up 1 or 2 himself. So, yeah, man, these games are a war of attrition. There's just no question about it. You don't know how anybody's stuff is going to play there. Our buddy in the chat, Prolific the Great, said, look, no excuses, man. We are the best batting average in baseball, one of the most prolific offenses in baseball. And I said, yeah, that's great. You're absolutely right. But you also have to prevent runs. Preventing runs in Coors Field is as important as scoring them. So you always have your hands full when you go to that place. You've seen it this week. The Braves blew a 7-run lead or something, and it just weird stuff happens there, man. The outfield is vast, and the ball travels very, very well, and that should be good for your offense, and but it can also be pretty gnarly on your pitching.
Tomorrow is Dylan Cease against Kyle Freeland, the left-hander, who they have not faced this season, have not exactly fared well. I think he's beaten the Padres 6 times the previous 2 years. They've also gotten him the last start in 2023. They did get some runs, and he's not quite the same pitcher he was. He's 3-4 with a 5.75 ERA. Again, Coors Field inflated, so 1.5 WHIP, but that's something. They've done much better against lefties. That storyline has pretty much been put to bed, but I always still think about it because of what happened earlier in the season. Dylan Cease did not have his best 2 starts on the road trip. One wasn't his fault. It was rain, and he got 1 inning and then had to come out. And then he lost obviously the other game of the road trip, a rare Padres loss here in the month of August. So he'll be looking to bounce back. I'm sure he will be very motivated to, carry his weight and join with the rest of his teammates who have been pretty much lights out this month when he goes in tomorrow's second game of the series. I think that's 30 minutes earlier at 5:10. And then in the series finale on Sunday, 12:10 start, Joe Musgrove will make his second start back from the injured list against Bradley Blaylock, who is, I believe, a 23-year-old that I don't know much about. Woods, do you know anything about Bradley Blaylock?
No, I'm not currently up on my Bradley Blaylock stats, but all I see is that he's 0-0 with a 4.05 ERA, probably a young kid getting a few starts under his belt. But, yeah, Joe, it's going to be interesting to see how Joe's stuff plays at Coors Field. Look, man, again, it's Coors Field, so you literally feel like you can be the best team in baseball, which you are the hottest team in baseball right now, and that place can help alleviate. I don't want to be like the wet blanket, but we've watched too many of these games over the last few years.
Is it a good idea to let Joe pitch in Coors Field in a second game?
I think
a test, or is that one where if you could swing it, save him for Monday when he's back home in San Diego?
I mean, I think. It's your last series.
Maybe you take Friday and Saturday. Does that change the equation?
If you take Friday and Saturday, it may make me make a different decision. If I was the skipper, I'm not. But they have a plan. They want to stick to it. It's not just about Joe. You got to keep everybody else on track. He's still on a pitch count, so hey man, 65 pitches and give us your best 3 1/3 or 2 1/3.
Might be up to 70. Maybe you can sneak out 5 in this one. I think he went to 63 in his last one.
Yeah, I don't know that it matters, especially for a guy like Joe. The makeup of his character, he just wants the ball. He just wants to get out there. But I'm thinking, we're trying to get your confidence going. We're trying to build you up a little bit. Maybe not Coors Field.
And Ben and I were talking about this yesterday. We talked about a plan, and I think, is it foolish if you're Mike Shildt, AJ Preller, any of the people that are involved in the holistic planning of the next 18 games, because you can't go into it just sitting on your ass and not doing anything, right? You have to have some sort of plan. But the plan can change in what? An inning? 2 innings? If Matt Waldron goes out, I feel like if Matt Waldron goes out tonight and gets lit up, he just stays in for 6, right? You just kind of punt.
He's done that a couple of times this year where he's given up 5 and then stayed in for 6 innings and kind of bounced back.
But the thing about Coors is you also know you can give up 5 runs, you can answer back with 7. You're never really out of a game in Coors Field either. But I do think, Paulie, it's an interesting point that you bring up, because if you want to stick to the plan, doesn't the plan revolve around how much you've used the bullpen on Friday night and Saturday night as well? If you have to go nuts using everybody to win the first 2 games, and then you throw Joe Musgrove out there on Sunday
on a pitch limit,
on a pitch count, right? The plan is, I'm not saying it's wasted time or energy, because it's not. You cannot just go in there willy-nilly and be like, let's let the chips fall where they may. But the plan can change so quickly in that ballpark, which is what makes it so weird. And I guess if I was a fan of another team, I'd be like, it's kind of cool. Those guys got to change everything to go play in Coors Field. Not when you play those guys 20 times a year and you play them 10 times or whatever at their house. It's really it's kind of an excruciating watch as a fan.
I would like to say that the one thing that gives me some confidence about this series is that the Padres are sending 3 competitors to the mound. And really, everyone in their rotation. Throw in Michael King and now Martin Perez from what we've seen. They have competitors who aren't afraid. Coors Field's not going to intimidate them. They're going to go out there and give you their all. They're not going to be thrown by, hey, it's thin air, whatever. All of those guys are going to go out and compete. And I get it. They lost 2 or 3 when they went to Coors Field, including that horrific game in which they were up big and gave up 6 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning and lost 10-9. It was a pivotal game of the first half of the season. If they win that one, they win 2 or 3. If they win that series at Coors Field.
Yeah, nobody cares.
And no one really cares. You just move on. It was just one horrifically bad inning. Mostly it was Wandy Peralta's just his worst outing of the year, that it just went all off the rails, which happens sometimes at Coors Field. But otherwise, they competed well in that series. They won 1 game. Michael King lost the first one.
They scored runs.
They scored some runs. It wasn't It wasn't the nightmare that I think we kind of make it out to be.
That last one was a nightmare.
It was the last inning of the last game was a nightmare that turned what would have been a solid 2 out of 3 performance into something that kind of scarred all of us in the first half of the season. So
yeah, no question.
I fully expect them to go in, compete really well. They should take this series. I know you're very happy with 2 out of 3. They're much better than the Colorado Rockies.
Much better.
They're a much better team than the Colorado Rockies, who didn't do anything at the trade deadline. They simply just need to
cut
go.
Players since.
They simply need
Just
to go
got
and
swept.
take care of business and do what they are supposed to do, and hopefully nothing weird, Coors Fieldy happens. You know, you get some of those bloops. You get sometimes your pitchers get a little unlucky, and it can snowball away from you at Coors where it can't necessarily at other places. But there's no reason you shouldn't feel pretty confident going into this series, other than our collective trauma as Padres fans over the years.
And really, the collective trauma is not really, well, this would be just like this team to go into a slide or a skid. No, I don't feel that with this team. I don't at all, really. But these 3 games.
Oh, yeah, they actually split. It was a 4-game series. Dylan Cease won the first game. Matt Waldron won the third game. Both pitched really well. Gave up 1 and 2 runs in those games.
Yep.
And they're back on the mound these next 2 days.
Good. Let's get it.
That's good. So, anyway, wanted to bring up a couple of reports, kind of almost conflicting reports from Jon Heyman in the New York Post. And the reports locally are usually always better than what you get nationally from reporters. As dialed in as they are, even the Jeff Passons of the world can't compete generally with local reporting. So when Jon Heyman says that the odds of Yu Darvish coming back are 50-50 or maybe even better, great, but what does he really know that we don't already know? We've kind of heard around the same thing. It might happen, it might not happen. It's just kind of a guess, but he did have that reporting yesterday. But in the same piece, he also said that the Padres in free agency this offseason they say the Padres love Blake Snell, could make a play for him this winter to bring him back as a free agent, assuming Blake Snell opts out and declines his $30 million player option, which around baseball, they think he will, unless he gets hurt in the next month and just wants to collect that $30 million. He's planning on hitting free agency again. And according to Jon Heyman, the Padres will be a team that will be a very active pursuer of Blake Snell this offseason, which to me is interesting. Not that I'm surprised that they like Blake Snell. I know the Padres and A.J. Preller like Blake Snell a lot. The question is, what's the direction this next offseason for the San Diego Padres? I know it's a little early to be talking about off-season moves.
Way early. It's way early.
But, you know, Blake Snell would be a pricey addition to the team.
Yeah.
After a year in which they scaled the payroll way back to get under the luxury tax level, is this report an indication that they might be willing to scale up again, you know, in this next offseason, knowing that they've got Dylan Cease for 1 more year, they've got Luis Arraez for 1 more year, they've got Michael King for 1 more year. Is next year potentially a year where the Padres look at their roster and go, okay, we can go over the luxury tax limit again like we did the previous couple of years, because this would be a perfect year to go for it. And then we'll figure out where we are, who we want to offer contracts to, and kind of reset after next year. But is there a plan in place, and I haven't heard anything locally about this, to, you know, make another investment in the roster this offseason?
Well, I think there's going to be an investment in the roster. I think, you know, target number 1, as Tevin says in the chat, is Roki Sasaki. Now, that's a completely different pool of money that you're pulling from, but you do have as good a chance to get Roki Sasaki as any other team in baseball. And, you know, we know that the work has been put in. We know that the work is continuing to be put in on Roki Sasaki. At Peter Seidler's memorial, A.J. Preller actually mentioned Roki Sasaki that day, so I think that's probably target number 1.
But again, as you said, that's a different pool. That's the international pool of money. Yep. That's the groundwork you've laid with Yu Darvish, his mentor, being the most active GM on the, you know, Asian front and in Japan, as A.J. Preller, his learning Japanese and continuing to practice it for all these years, trying to make him feel comfortable. Not just him, but any potential acquisition, you know, Yuki Matsui, all of them. This is what A.J. Preller has done. This is why he works as hard as he works to try to give himself a chance at players like this.
I would totally imagine that he is your first target. Number one, because he's really, really good. Number two, that he's very, very affordable for a while. And that's the guy that you go out and you get. And I think, Blake Snell should never be looked at as some consolation prize because, again, different pools of money affects different things, certainly. But I do think Roki is target number. I'm to the point with Roki, I'll crowdsource a billboard. Like, we should do something like that, something big to get Roki Sasaki here. Not that they can't do that in L.A., because I know that they want him very badly as well. They
have Shohei Ohtani.
They've got Yamamoto.
They certainly. You would think the Padres and the Dodgers are the two favorites for Roki Sasaki's services, in assuming he does come over this offseason, as has been speculated.
But I also imagine that teams like the Yankees will make a tremendous push for Roki Sasaki.
But they can't offer more than the other teams can. They all can offer right around the same.
He's a phenom, so to speak. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, man, it's a little bit early, and I do think I don't think that I think. It really depends on how the rest of this season plays out. I don't think if the Padres, go out and win the World Series this year that they say, all right, now it's time to, not continue to go for it. Or even if they make the World Series or something like that. I think they're going to continue to, if A.J. Preller's the GM and president of baseball ops for a long time, as he probably should be right now, yeah, I think he's not going to do anything differently. He's still going to try to win baseball games. That's what he loves to do.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now, the other Heyman report that involved a free agent to be this offseason in the San Diego Padres was one that I saw a lot of Padres fans upset about, and that was his column on the odds of each team to sign Juan Soto in the offseason. And his main point is that the Yankees are probably pretty heavy favorites, like at least even money, he thinks, followed by teams, the Mets and the Dodgers and the Giants were his top four. But he included the Padres at the back end. He did his top 10, and he had the Padres at number 10. And the comment that he made got a lot of Padres fans upset. He said, had their beloved owner Peter Seidler lived, they'd be much higher than 100 to 1 and 10th on the list.
I didn't have an issue with him putting the Padres 10th. I think people thought that I did. I never had an issue with.
I don't think they're higher than 10th.
I don't think they are either, and nor do I think that they're even going to really pursue Juan Soto.
I was surprised they were even in the top 10.
I really think, as much as I liked Juan Soto, I think that ship has sailed. I do.
Yeah, your chance.
I do somewhat agree that, if Peter Seidler was still here and everything was going, he might have an inkling that he wants to get Juan Soto back after trading him away.
He might have never traded.
I don't think he ever left.
And he may have never left. So in that sense, what John Heyman is saying has a kernel there to it.
Sure.
People were just upset with just how he said it, I think, and the phrasing of it.
It was the phrasing. That's all that got me as I went, that's a weird way to put it. It's just a weird way to you're a writer, it's a weird way to put it. Invoking the name of Peter Seidler like that, I thought was a little odd.
Crass.
Well, it's just weird. It's just weird. That's the best way I can describe it. It's just weird. It was very strange.
But no, I do not expect the Padres to be players for Juan Soto this offseason.
No.
And it's fine. They got value for him, big-time value in Michael King, in Kyle Higashioka, in Randy Vasquez, in Johnny Brito, and in Drew Thorpe, who they helped flip to turn into Dylan Cease.
I mean, really,
without those guys, you're not sitting here 16 games above 500 and fighting for an NL West title.
I mean, at this point, it looks like a total masterclass by A.J. Preller, that trade.
All right, we'll come back. We've got some Take on Woods, chance to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas. We've got a big shift in the odds in the Rookie of the Year award race in the National League. Talk about all of that coming up next year with Bennett Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Come on.
What?
Go ahead.
How many have we won? Like
19
of 22.
All right. It's pretty good.
Some would say it's the best this team's ever done in 22 games.
Some would say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Go ahead.
You want me to
It's
say?
your guy.
I just see our friend Steven Coronado's in the chat this morning. Good morning, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hello, Steve.
He knows Mike Shilt's coming on this morning, and he really wants us to talk bunting with Mike Shildt and his strategy and his 9-point plan and scoring system, grading system for bunting, because he thinks that's the final piece of the puzzle for the San Diego Padres. I will once again reiterate, not only are the Padres playing fantastic baseball right now, I still think they are the best bunters in Major League Baseball.
They bunt a lot.
They bunt a lot. They bunt effectively.
They've
done a great job on their bunting. I can't even remember the last time they bunted and it didn't work out.
Crony tried to lay one down the other day.
Did he?
Didn't work. He got a
Tough pitch to handle.
a red. He could get a red in his grades.
Right.
For that.
D,
But,
maybe a D minus.
Steve really likes. He really wants the. Steve, if you're listening, you can call in 833-288-0973. We see the videos. You tag Ben. I'm glad it's not me because I'd probably. I'm glad that you are the ambassador, the bunting ambassador for Steve. And
I mean, if your manager calls for a bunt, you want them to be able to lay it down successfully.
correct, but don't you submit, Steve, that Mike Shildt knows what he's doing and has. I mean, they're the number one offense in baseball right now.
He's not the kind of guy who, at least based on our interactions with him, Mike Shildt, he's not the kind of guy that overlooks fundamentals.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good way to put it.
He's not willy-nilly about such things.
No. In fact, it's something you think that he preaches quite a bit. Yeah, it's in the other chat because it's chatting through Facebook, so that populates to the other chat. He's not in the YouTube chat per se, right? I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah, we get them all aggregated together, so whether you're on YouTube or
Twitch, Facebook,
we get to see them all right now.
Yeah.
So he chatted through the Facebook stream, and I just saw that one pop up. So
listen, somebody just said if they bunt in the World Series to win a game, I will personally make sure you're on a float in the parade.
They may. They're good bunters.
They're good
bunt
bunters.
a lot.
Yeah.
They have more sacrifice bunts, I think, than every other team but the Diamondbacks, and they have more bunt hints than any other team in baseball. They're really good bunters.
They are. They're really good. So I don't think it's misguided. I know that that's his passion. Bunting is his passion.
Teaching music.
And teaching music. But as my late father-in-law said, find your passions and explore them fiercely. And he's like, who's the greatest explorer of all time?
Vasco da Gama.
Okay. He's the da Gama of bunting, right? So
they're all problematic.
Yeah, they are. They
I
are.
was gonna say, I can't think of one
Who's like a really
that I want to ride with.
Coronado.
We're
in San Diego.
Who's a really cool explorer? That's Steve. He is exploring his passions as fiercely as he can, and his passion is bunting and the bunting graded system. It's weird too because I'm coaching this year, and we're moving up, right? We're no longer in T-ball, machine pitch. Is it weird that I won't teach any of those kids how to bunt? Not one of them. And in fact, there'll probably be severe punishments for any of them that do bunt.
You're taking it to extremes, but yeah.
Not severe per se, but like, what are you doing? You're bunting? You're not bunting. You're 7. You're not bunting. Swing away, man. Let's go.
We don't do that.
We don't do that yet. You're fine, man. You're fine. So, if Steve, if you're listening, you want to call in. Listen, I'm going to tell you this though. I'm going to say this, maybe for the last time. We're not playing that for Mike Shildt. All right. I think he would slit our throats. If we said, Shildt, do you have 3 minutes? I want you to listen to something one of our audience members sent in. Here you go. I can't do it. But Ben has his phone number. Ben could text it to him. If Ben was a mensch, he would do it. You would text it to Mike Shildt.
Just not going to do that.
That would likely be the last manager's report.
Now, C20 Moreno says it is weird that I'm not going to teach them how to bunt. Why would I teach a 7-year-old how to bunt? I'm not. The thing is, man, I'm not trying to win baseball games, right? I'm not out there trying to win baseball games. If we win, that'd be great. I love to win. I want to teach that winning is cool and fun. But I want to teach them how to, hit and field and run the bases and things like that. I'm not going to teach them how to bunt. They'll learn how to bunt later.
It's good hand-eye coordination.
It is, but you don't need to bunt. You don't
yeah.
need to bunt off a pitching machine, right? That's like that. If somebody bunted against me in Little League, I think I'd be mad. I think I would be mad. I'd be like, "What are you doing? What are you You trying to advance the runner? What are you trying? It's weird to me. It's weird. I want to teach these guys how to hit, and give them a little confidence up there."
Quickly, it was a good day yesterday, even though the Padres didn't play. They got a lot of help around Major League Baseball. The Brewers rallied to beat the Dodgers 6-4 with 3 in the 8th inning, pulling out a 4-game split, which means Padres and Diamondbacks now just 2 games behind the Dodgers in the NL West. That's as close as the race has been since April 24th. Wow. Dodgers actually have someone breathing down their necks. And I talked to a Dodger fan just a couple days ago. He said, this is good for the Dodgers. They need this.
I think
this has been the problem the last few years. They've had nothing to play for in July, August, and September.
Ben, you do a great job.
I really believed it. They're actually happy about the fact that the Dodgers don't have a 12-game lead at this point in the season. We'll see how it works out, but that's where the Dodgers are. The Giants beat the Braves.
To me.
6-0. Logan Webb with 7 2/3 shutout innings. That means Atlanta now falls 4.5 games behind the Padres and the Diamondbacks. They still hold that third wild card spot because the Mets lost. They had a 5-0 lead and blew it against the Oakland A's at home. Mason Miller dodged a couple of base runners in the end, went more than an inning to get the save, and the A's won 7-6, which means the Mets are now 6.5 games behind the Padres and Diamondbacks. That's the first non-playoff position, is now a full 6.5 games behind where the Padres are right now. So to miss out on the postseason, you'd have to give up 6.5 games in the standings over the last 40. Impossible? No, not impossible, but very difficult to do. And you'd have to have 2 teams pass you as well. Well, for that to happen, you need both the Braves and the Mets to come back and get you. So the Padres have put themselves in a really good position at this point, and yesterday was very helpful for the San Diego Padres on that front. We need a contestant for real or take on Woods.
Yep.
If you want to call in and play against Woods in our musical trivia challenge and try to qualify for the trip to Las Vegas and the Carrie Underwood tickets, call right now, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. While you do that, I just wanted to point out, so everyone in baseball has agendas, whether it's teams, fans, even the media. We have agendas. We want to be entertaining, and we want people to listen to us. Newspaper writers want people to read their columns. TV, ESPN wants people to watch. So everyone has an agenda to maybe make things more exciting than they seem sometimes. The one outlet that doesn't really, they have an agenda, but it doesn't involve eyeballs, is the odds makers. Their only agenda is to try to even the odds on both sides. They want bets, 50% of bets on one side, 50% of bets on the other side, so they know.
Their agenda is not to make money?
And their agenda is then to make money, by trying to make those odds as fair as possible. And the change in the National League Rookie of the Year odds has been dramatic over the last week. 1 month ago, Paul Skeens was minus 5,000 to win the Rookie of the Year. That means you bet $1. You bet $50 to win $1 on Paul Skeens. That is an overwhelming, you would think, insurmountable favorite. Those odds have almost come down to barely even money, 2-1 at this point, with Jackson Merrill just under 1-2, plus 160, as almost a co-favorite now to win the National League Rookie of the Year in an enormous shift in the betting markets.
ESPN Bet, their new system that they have, says that in the span of a week, Paul Skeens' odds for Rookie of the Year went from minus 4,000
1 to 40
to minus 225. Jackson Merrill, in that same span of a week, has improved from plus 1,400 to just plus 160.
God, that would have been good odds to get in at plus 1,400,
No
man.
So there is one
Or
better.
2 months ago, even.
There is one
Beginning of
better
the
that they have who bet a long time ago. He bet $1,000, 10 $100 bets, and he got Skeens at 50 to 1. This was probably before they even called him up. That would have been, and if he wins, it'll pay out over $50,000.
$5,100 or $51,000.
And it looked like it was just sure thing a month ago. Like, okay, this is a lock. He just sold those wagers out on the prop swap market for $28,000. So took half his money to get out of his bet right now, essentially. Got a little nervous.
I mean, look, he turned 1,000 into 28,000.
That's still
damn good, man.
Good smart betting.
Wow.
Now, someone may end up winning it if Paul Skeens does get the Rookie of the Year, and someone may be out $28,000 if Jackson Merrill comes back and takes the award away.
That's pretty amazing.
So pretty crazy, huh?
Yep.
All right, we got some contestants calling in. Let's get to it. It is time to take on Woods. All right, Take on Woods brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. Let's go to line 3. Is this Art?
Yes. Hello.
Art, are you ready to play Take on Woods?
Yeah.
All right, you're our contestant. If you can beat or tie Woods, who has left the studio, he does not get to hear this part of the game, you will qualify for our grand prize drawing at the end of the month. It is a 2-night stay at the beautiful Resorts World Las Vegas and 2 tickets to Carrie Underwood, her residency underway right now at Resorts World Theater. Tickets on sale at access.com. That's AXS.com and RWLasVegas.com. To give you a little advantage, we let you pick the category and keep Woods in the dark. Here is your choices for today. We got Sprechen Sie Deutsch. Those are German/songs bands, but also popular here in the United States. We've got 24-hour bands. Those are 5 bands that have a time of day in their name. And our new category is called The End of Life. And it's a 2-second song category in which every answer ends in the word life. So we've got Sprechen Sie Deutsch, 24-hour bands, or The End of Life. Art, what would you like to play?
The End of Life.
The End of Life. The always exciting all 2-second song category. So this is how this one works. No questions, just music today. Paulie has 5 different songs queued up for you. To score the point, you need to give me the title and the artist of each song to get the full credit for that point. If you don't know one, you can say pass. We'll come back to the music if there's time left in your 60 seconds. Art, you understand?
Yes.
All right, listen carefully. We're going to put 60 seconds on the clock, and remember the category, The End of Life. So all these song titles end in the word life. You need to give me the song title and the artist to score the point. All right, Art, you ready to play? Paulie, you ready to play?
I'm ready.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock, Art. Your time begins when Paul plays our first song. Good luck, Art. Let's take on Woods. Next song. Go what? Number 3.
In My Life, Beatles.
Correct. Song number 4. All right, song number 5.
It's My Life. Backstreet Boys?
No, that's not correct.
What did you just say?
My Life.
That's right. It's My Life by Bon Jovi. One more time. The second song. We're running out of time. All right, well, we got 2. I don't know if that's going to be enough, but you got It's My Life there by Bon Jovi. It's Larger Than Life was that last one by the Backstreet Boys. Semi-Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind. In My Life by the Beatles you got. And Best Day of My Life by the American Authors.
Prediction: Woods is getting the first 3.
Yeah,
I don't know about the 4th, and definitely not the 5th.
That's what I think, too. All right, Art's score is locked in.
Art. Love it.
Woods, you do not get the category, but I do have to tell you. It's an all 2-second song day.
All right.
So you know how that works?
Yep.
60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Art.
It's Bon Jovi, but I'll come back to this.
All right, song number 2.
Semi-Charmed Live by Third Eye Blind.
Correct. Song number 3.
That's all. In My Life by the Beatles.
Correct. Song number 4.
Best Day of My Life by American Authors.
That is correct. Song number 5.
Life is a Taint by the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, you could have gotten that one. No. Go back to song number 1.
It's My Life, Bon Jovi.
That is correct. That's 4 out of 5, and that is a 4-2 win for Woodsy today. The End of Life, all of these songs ending in the word life. It's Larger Than Life by the Backstreet Boys.
So close.
You were very close. Couldn't have even taken a guess on that one.
I did take a guess.
He did. It's
just not a very good one. All right, Woodsy gets the win today. We will put in a new category on Monday and see how you do. Art, thank you for calling. Thank you for playing. Wasn't your day today on Take on Woods. Paulie's got our tee set for Don't Do This, which is coming up next.
Oh, yes. Can't play music and
at the same
tease
time.
at
I know.
the
Yeah.
same time.
Sorry.
But the tease is just a simple.
You gotta give him that hawk tune. Spit on that thing.
She's back.
She's back.
She's back. She's never
back.
going away.
That is coming up next with Ben and Woods. We'll be back after a check of Kelly's traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Sadly, we have a few shout out to their families coming up a little bit later this hour.
We have like a trilogy.
We'll hold on to that for the moment as we get to our daily dose of Don't Do This, started today by Stephen Woods.
It's like a three-parter. I mean, obviously, we all know the story of Haley Welch. Yes, we all know who Haley Welch is. She's the...
You gotta give him that hawk too and spit on that thing.
And since that viral video went down, she's sold trading cards and all kinds of things. And the New York Mets thought it would be a good idea to have her come out and throw out the first pitch, the Hawk-Tua girl. And so she did. Went out and threw out the first pitch, and they called her. And MLB actually tweeted out.
Hey, Dad, why is she throwing out the
Hawk-Tua?
first pitch? What is she famous for again, Dad?
Yeah, correct.
You gotta give him that hawk too.
Spit on that thing.
She's on the internet, son.
Yeah, she's on the internet.
Hawk too and spit on that thing.
So, MLB...
Hawk-Tua. I mean, not that every team doesn't have some problematic first pitch thrower outs.
Yeah, I mean, we
threw it out for the Padres.
We did
so,
it. Dan Cilio threw one out.
It happens.
Years
It
ago.
does happen.
One of the worst first pitches of all time, by the way, just for the record. Literally.
It's like 50 Cent, Gary Delabate,
Dan Cilio.
that guy.
Yeah. Hawk-Tua's pitch was actually pretty good.
Not bad.
But MLB actually tweeted it out. Viral sensation. Haley Welch throws out the first pitch. So that's the first don't do this, right? Mets actually blow... Oh. Mets blow a
Cough
huge...
up.
Mets, yes, cough up a huge lead. Okay? Lose the game. From WFAN, Sal Licata. Now, I often think New York media is very performative. Very performative.
Yeah.
I felt this one. I really felt this one from Sal, who is a Mets fan. Listen to this reaction.
The Yankees have Aaron Judge and Juan Soto breaking records. Ruth, Mantle, Gehrig, and the Mets have Grimace and now Hawk-Tua. Come on, bro. I can't take it. I cannot take it anymore. It's ridiculous. And then you wonder why fans get so ticked off and upset. It's embarrassing. Is it the biggest deal in the world? No, absolutely. Does it mean anything on the field? No. But that's the problem. The product on the field isn't good enough, and you're coming up with these silly gimmicks that are laughing stock. It's a joke. Hawk-Tua.
His co-host,
I just want to talk about this the rest of the show.
his co-host was laughing. He was dying. It's embarrassing. Oh! Oh!
No.
Maroon!
The freaking Yankees,
The Yankees
have Aaron Judge,
and
and we've got
Soto.
Grimace.
When
And
you're
Hawk-Tuah.
When you're a diehard fan,
Spit on that
obviously
thing.
you want your team to win a championship. But the second most important thing you want is just please don't embarrass me as a fan team. Like,
Yeah, dude.
don't do embarrassing things that
That's
make me
what's in.
sorry that I have associated with you and thrown my lot behind you all these years. Don't embarrass me.
I'd rather have Grimace than the Goose is Loose
Oh,
guys.
100. I'd rather have Hawk-Tua girl than the Let's
I
Go
mean, the Padres
Goose.
at least didn't have anything to do with the
No,
Goose
no.
rapper guys.
They didn't tweet
They
it out
didn't
or
invite them
anything.
out to throw the first pitch
No,
or tweet it out or
no.
anything.
And then the third part of this, Tim Healy, who was a Mets beat writer, he writes this yesterday. Mets beat writer for Newsday Sports. The Hawk-Tua girl threw out the first pitch at the Mets game for some reason. They introduced her as viral sensation. Then, update. I am not allowed to mention in Newsday who threw out the first pitch for the Mets today. His bosses wouldn't let him talk about it.
Even just like saying her actual name.
Anything. He's not even allowed to mention who did it. Haley Welch or Hawk-Tua or anything else. So
I think she's a lovely young woman.
I do too. Big fan. Big fan.
Making the most out of her meteoric rise to fame.
She's squeezing it all out, man. Whoa.
All right, so story number 2 here for Don't Do This. And there are certain fan bases out there that feel like they're better than the rest and that their teams don't commit the same kind of mistakes that other teams do. I would think the Notre Dame fan base, of which Woods is part of, has that attitude, right?
Whoa.
Higher standards.
Easy.
It's hard to get into Notre Dame.
It is?
I mean, they throw these things at the program. Like, we have better behavior, whatever. which is why this story was pretty shocking, that Notre Dame has suspended its men's swimming program for at least 1 year. The entire program, though. I'm not talking about like one or two guys or the coach. I'm talking about the entire program. Can you imagine if they did that with the football team? Oh, by the way, we're not playing football this year. No, they're just not going to swim this year. Well, what happened with the swimming program?
Well, I'm devastated, by the way.
According to a person with knowledge of the situation, members of the team had set up a makeshift internal sports book where athletes could wager on their own times posted by themselves or teammates at meet. They essentially they just started betting on their own
with their buddies.
Events and meets.
With their buddies, though, right?
Correct. Yes.
Like, all right, so it would be like me, Ben, and Paulie saying, like, I'm going to beat you today. I'll bet you $50 I'm going to beat you today. All right, let's go.
Pretty much.
Wow, that would never happen at a college, ever. I think that's a very harsh punishment for the Notre Dame swim team. What am I going to do with my Tuesday afternoons now? If I can't watch Notre Dame
your swim meets that you had been doing all this time?
What am I going to do now with that? Well, listen, I guess it's better than stealing a national title in football, but what do I know? Listen, all right, and I will wrap us up with some doo-doo this. Good news.
DD mega doo-doo.
How about this, guys? How about a combined no-hitter for our beloved San Antonio Missions band?
Padres AA affiliate.
Look at that.
Well done.
Ryan Bergert, Bradley Rodriguez, and Ryan Ox combined for a no-hitter. Very, very impressive stuff
Full 9
from
innings.
the guys. Yeah.
Nice.
Bergert, I think, got a text about it this morning. And Ryan Bergert went 6 2/3, threw really, really well. No hit, obviously. Threw 87 pitches, 65 for strikes, mid-90s fastball, vertical break rising, big induced vertical break rising fastball. Very, very good. Good stuff from the guys. Bradley he's a 20-year-old. He throws 100 miles an hour. So very, very good stuff for the San Antonio Missions. And there's that gutted farm system that we hear so much about, Ben, for our San Diego Padres. I had heard that we had traded every single player that we had that was of any value. But the guys that were just drafted, they're all playing really well. And then the guys that have been in the system for a year or two, they're playing well also. So the future continues to be bright.
You very rarely will ever see a 9-inning single-pitcher no-hitter in the minor leagues anymore.
I actually think it's probably not something you would ever really want to do.
No, I mean, with the they're so careful with pitch counts now that it simply is unthinkable that you would let a pitcher go 9 innings in the minor leagues at this point. So they're almost all combined no-hitters in the minor leagues when they do happen. And congratulations to the Padres trio of double-A'ers who got the no-hitter yesterday, and that is Don't and Do This for a Friday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we'll come back. As Wood said, we got a trio of shout-out to their families. Kind of a sad day yesterday that we'll throw out there and continue some Padres talk. If you want to join us, 833-288-0973. More Ben and Woods on the way on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. just heard it in the tease, but I did want to congratulate our friend Landon Donovan on his new job. Going to be taking over as interim head coach of the San Diego Wave, back on the sidelines, local soccer, after they have made some changes. It's been a tough season for the Wave, and they fired Casey Stoney, and then they had the interim coach Paul Buckle, but that was always a temporary Band-Aid. And now with the season set to really resume following the Olympics here coming up on August 24th, Landon Donovan's going to be the new coach, at least on an interim basis. Don't know if he wants the job full-time, if this is like a audition, like a tryout, potentially for full-time. Whether he wants to get, obviously, MLS coaching, I think was something he aspired to at some point. I don't know if San Diego FC, they're still looking for a head coach. They just hired their sporting director, their GM, this week as well, introducing him. So some local soccer news just out there today. So good luck to Landon Donovan with the Wave.
No, we had 3 shout-outs to their families that we needed to get to today. So they all came down yesterday, and I wanted to know how familiar either of you were with the first one, Greg Kihn. You ever heard of Greg Kihn?
Greg Kihn. Nope. Have not heard of
the
Greg
song we
Kihn.
just came back from was Jeopardy by the Greg Kihn Band. Huge hit in the 80s. Remember that, Jeopardy? Paulie, play the next of the breakup song. This is the one that you may know. Oh, my God. You never heard this before, Paulie?
I maybe heard it.
Benny?
Would not have
I've heard this,
put a name to the song.
Couple hits. Yeah, he had 4 or 5 hits in the 80s.
It's one of those.
Listen.
Okay, I've definitely heard that.
So
Greg Kihn Band.
The Greg Kihn Band. So he
Okay.
passed away at the age of 75, complications from Alzheimer's, which is just brutal. So that part in the song, the he was playing the song for his bandmates, and he just threw that in, and in his mind, he's like, I'm going to write words for that later. Like, that was just a placeholder as he was playing them, like the chords and everything, and they looked at him and they go, dude, that song's a monster, just like it is. Leave it just like it is. So he left the in there and had a huge hit with that. Then he left the music business, Benny, became a radio personality in San Francisco for many, many years. He was a radio disc jockey at KUFX, classic rock station, from 96 through 2012. He was a horror, can't say that word, a horror story novelist as well. Had a really good career, a really funny guy, a very dry, kind of sardonic guy. Really sharp, though, like very, very sharp dude. So he passed away at the age of 75 yesterday.
All right, shout out to his family.
Shout out to Greg Kihn.
Shout out to his family.
All right, we've got 2 more to get to.
Yeah.
We will take a quick check of traffic and then continue with the shout-outs next on 97.3
From
The
the
Fan.
97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Well, unfortunately, we've got a fatal collision in the South Bay, northbound side of the 805 past Telegraph Canyon Road. A traffic alert has been issued for this. 2 right lanes are blocked. That's northbound 805, just past Telegraph Canyon Road. Might want to consider taking North 5 out of the South Bay if you can manage that. Hit and run crash on southbound 15 before the 52. Everything's over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So I've told you guys, I was a huge game show enthusiast in my youth. I watched all of them. Bob Barker on The Price is Right, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, Press Your Luck, Password, the $25,000 Pyramid, and Hollywood Squares, which when really young, the original host of Hollywood Squares was a guy named Peter Marshall. And Peter Marshall passed away yesterday at the age of 98.
98.
So, yeah.
98? What happened?
Long run. It's tragic, I know. Tragic.
That's a hat tip, man. 98.
But I looked it up because I kind of remembered him, and then he was a panelist on the later edition that Tom Bergeron hosted every once in a while. So I remembered his face and remembered his name, but I kind of jumped into a rabbit hole yesterday when Peter Marshall died. And I didn't realize that there is a major sports connection as well to Peter Marshall, because Peter Marshall was just his stage name that he used in Hollywood. Very professional sounding.
Peter Marshall.
Like Dan Stevens. Very professional sounding name. But he was actually born Ralph Pierre Lecoq in 1926. And when he became a host on television and radio, he adopted the name Peter Marshall as the stage name that he used.
Why?
But no idea why Ralph Pierre Lecoq was not something that he thought would sell well in Middle America.
Welcome to Hollywood Squares. I'm Ralph Lecoq.
But, and this is where the rabbit hole went down, you might be familiar with first baseman, outfielder of the 1970s, Pete Lecoq, who is actually Ralph Pierre Lecoq Jr. He was Peter Marshall's son.
He didn't go by
Pete. No, he just went by Pete Lecoq as the Major League Baseball player for the Cubs and the Royals, who very famously,
Peter, by the way,
hit a grand slam off of Bob Gibson in Bob Gibson's final career appearance. So, shout out to his family, to Peter Marshall, a.k.a. Ralph Pierre Lecoq.
You know what? Mr. Lecoq gets the full intro.
And I really hope we can see more unity and more peace when already things are so difficult.
It's true.
So, shout out to his family.
Including the great Pete Lecoq as well.
Lecoq.
Ralph
Lecoq
Pierre
too.
Lecoq. Ralph Pierre Lecoq.
How'd you get that so fast?
I'm very good at what I do.
Just his name.
Peter Lecoq.
Peter. Grandparents, parents, real jokes.
I mean, at least they didn't go with Richard, maybe?
Yeah, true. He's a real Richard. God. Well, shout out to his family for sure. This one made me real sad yesterday. Now, you guys know I'm a big '80s hair guy, but this is they were more than a hairband. Now, Paulie, if I said the name Jack Russell of the band Great White, would that mean? Well, you too. Anything to either of you?
You say Jack Russell, I think of a dog.
Of
Yeah,
course.
that's all I think of.
Very cute.
Yeah. Do you know nothing?
High energy dogs.
Nothing from nothing. Great White doesn't ring any bells.
There's some sort of like news story.
There's a huge news story
involving
it's
that
not
band.
it's not a good one.
Yeah.
But you never heard Great White. Paulie, give me a little them and them. They played he was on the road, man, playing to 400 people in Warwick, Rhode Island, and they went and played a club in Warwick, Rhode Island.
That's what it was. Yeah.
And I actually watched the doc. I went on, as I do, went down the rabbit hole last night. There's a documentary about it, and it's got footage of him hours before the show, meeting fans, putting fans on the guest list, getting a tattoo, he's just a very genuine and nice guy, doing interviews and stuff like that. And they get up on stage, and it's during the first song. And they have a little bit of pyrotechnics, a couple of little things that shoot up. And it's been something that had happened at that club a million times. Every band that came in did a little bit of pyro. It was a club, so you couldn't go crazy. But for whatever reason, man, spark hit one of the walls, and the walls had illegal insulation in it, and it went up in flames, and 100 people perished at that nightclub.
That's the story I remember.
And it was so devastating. He lost his guitar player, and he got blamed for many, many years by people. It wasn't really his fault. I mean, they weren't negligent. They did everything according to plan, and he really took a turn, man. Got into drugs and alcohol pretty heavily later on, and I think recovered, but then he passed away from Lewy body dementia yesterday. I was really bummed because I think about like 8th grade dancing with girls to Save Your Love, and I loved his voice. I love that band. I love their Led Zeppelin stuff as well. Really good guitar player, really good blues singer. So shout out to your family, Jack Russell.
Shout out to his family.
Such a sad story, dude. Such a sad story. So it's weird, man, when like these are guys it's weird, like you grow up listening to these guys and then they pass away and you're like, oh God. It's like they're such a part of my youth. And when they start dropping off, it's just
makes you face your own mortality.
It really does, and it's pretty dicey, man. Pretty dicey. But his voice, if you get a moment today and you have Spotify or Apple Music, just go put in Great White Led Zeppelin. You'd have your mind blown. They do such a great job doing that. So shout out to his family.
Well, that was a sad segment.
Yeah, it was.
But you know what? We still have to live on and move on and
That's
plan
right.
for the future. And if you want to start planning for the future next spring already, the Padres and Major League Baseball announced their 2025 spring training schedule yesterday. And boy, does it start early. The first spring training game next year for the Padres. Friday, February 21st against the Seattle Mariners. And while they have not yet announced then what then the report dates are for pitchers and catchers and full squad, those will come
January 15th
later. But you got to figure, well, the full squad needs at least four or 5 days before they start playing games. So that's probably around the 15th or the 16th, which means pitchers usually get 5 or 6 days before that. So we're talking like February around 10th or 11th probably for the start of spring training when pitchers and catchers report. So by the time, the World Series rolls around, like next season will be right around the corner.
The Super Bowl, which is always there used to be like a 3-week to
2-week,
a month
there's a 2-week gap between the Super Bowl and spring training.
Every year it's gotten shorter and shorter. So the Super Bowl is scheduled to be played February 9th, 2025 in New Orleans.
So likely that day or the next day, probably pitchers and catchers will now report to spring training.
That's like the greatest thing that ever happened to us ever. I mean, that dead period between the Super Bowl and pitchers and catchers is, well, it's dead. It's a dead period.
Not a lot going on.
Is there reasoning behind this? Now, this is going to be the first year for us in a while where it hasn't been some weird, janky start to the season, right? There's no Korea series. We're off the hook.
No lockout. No COVID. No
COVID.
We hope.
As far as we know. Knock on wood.
Monkeypox.
But yeah, I think that is there a reason for moving it up?
Other than general creep? I think they've tried to add a couple more off days into the season. Remember, like the All-Star break used to be just 3 days. Now it's 4 days for every team, and they've tried to stretch out, I think, a couple more off days throughout the season, which means, of course, either you push back the World Series even further, which is hard to do. It's already getting into November. Or you start a little bit earlier, which is also difficult to do because in late March when the season starts, when's opening day? March 28th or 9th next year, somewhere around there.
7th.
You still can have really bad weather and cold weather on the East Coast and in the North at certain points. So they've kind of
March
reached,
27th.
Yeah, they've kind of reached the limits of how early and how late they can now go in Major League Baseball without completely risking, weeks of bad weather. So this is pretty much it. But yeah, they're getting started even earlier, and I think they're right on the edge of where they can now be in spring training.
What do the players feel about that? Right? They're like, all right.
I would say that when they get the news, they go, it's like they probably go, that's so soon.
But if you get more off days.
Every player I always talk to, once Christmas is over, they're usually ready to go. They're like, okay, let's get back and going.
But they also feel like spring training is
too long.
Is a little bit too long.
Well, it's long for the pitchers to stretch out, and players will always say, we could show up the last week or two and we'd be fine. But the pitchers need those weeks to ramp up and get back into form. So they really haven't found any better way to do that other than a fairly long month-and-a-half spring training.
Our boss Michael says we're going to freeze out there at spring training. Well, I guess it's all dependent on when we go. Number one, but he said we are approved.
We always do
for space.
There's been some really
well. Remember,
really cold days.
I almost
out there.
died from the heat last year at spring training. Remember, we had no shades, so I like stroked out at the end.
Ben and Woods RV.
Ooh, a mobile studio.
And we park it in the parking lot right there.
And we just
do the show
there.
Like Barstool, they do like the bussing with the boys. I think they do they go to NFL training camps and they have interviews in the bus in the van or whatever. Like,
love it. The Ben bus.
The Ben bus.
We need a sponsor.
Yeah,
Michael.
Some local RV
canopy,
outlets,
Airstream.
The RV.
Yeah, I threw up last year.
We'll throw some cameras,
Are we living in the RV as well?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, we're not living there. We're just broadcasting.
Ben and Woods Ben bus.
Mobile studio.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
I think it's a great idea. All right, we'll
Make
work
it
on
happen.
it. All right, start your planning now.
All right, second half of Ben and Woods includes more Journey and Def Leppard tickets. We've got, of course, The Manager at 9 o'clock and Mike Shildt on a FRIAR Friday. And coming up next, talk to our friend Jordan Shusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue. Baseball talk on the way on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we are halfway home on a Friday. Ben and Woods, 97.3. The Fan. I've got the nervous pit in my stomach that comes with a series at Coors Field. I know I'm being really dramatic about it, but yeah, man, these games make me very, very nervous. I really believe in the team. It doesn't shake my belief in the team, but I really don't like Coors Field. I really feel like the Rockies play their best baseball against us, so that's what we're looking forward to this weekend, but we still have 2 hours left on the program. Got Mike Shildt coming up in an hour. Got Paul Reindl, the executive producer, is here, and Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Waiting on Jordan right now. He's running a little bit behind, but
he'll be here in
just quickly, obviously the Padres are 4-6 against the Rockies this year, which means they would need to sweep the series to win the season series against the Rockies, but it's unlikely that will mean anything, as they won't end up, in any playoff tiebreakers with the Rockies. The only potential place where a tiebreaker could come into play. So they've already won the season series with the Dodgers. We know that. They're 7-3 with 3 to play.
Yep.
So they've clinched that one. They're 5-5 against the Diamondbacks with 3 left. If they win that series, they'll own all the tiebreakers, whether it's a 2-way tie or a 3-way tie with the Diamondbacks and Dodgers. The only way it could come into play, if the Padres lose that series to the Diamondbacks and the Diamondbacks take the tiebreaker, the season series tiebreaker, and then it finishes in a 3-way tie between the teams and you've split, so it goes to the next tiebreaker, which would be division record, which would then make these games against the Rockies part of that 3-way tiebreaker. That's many steps down the road.
Yes,
but
a lot has to happen.
There is, in a sense, a little bit extra on the line in these games just because they are NL West games.
So now it's also, I don't think we've even mentioned this. It's a Players Weekend.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Which I feel like I haven't seen the Padres participate in Players Weekend in years. I remember the old uniforms. They had Hedgie was Hedgehog or something.
Yeah,
I just haven't seen them in recent years. This is right up Jordan and Jake's alley.
It truly is.
So before we bring them on, I just wanted to post this, if you're watching on the YouTube stream. Jackson Merrill, MLB just posted, Jackson Merrill's going to have a glow-in-the-dark lightsaber bat this weekend.
He gets to use this in the game.
It's a Victus bat, and it's painted.
Whoa.
It really does glow in the dark.
Yeah.
Now, they won't be dark at the games. They'll have lots of lights on.
Look at the handle, too. It looks like an actual lightsaber. That's pretty badass.
That's cool.
I'll never forget my dad asking Jerks in Profar if Victus is a new... is that a new brand? Remember that? Dude. No, didn't only ask him, but...
pulled him aside.
Stopped him on his way by. Hey, who's that bat? What is it, Victus? I never heard of that. Is that new? Oh, cool.
Dad, leave him alone.
Fondling him.
So they'll have
it's the best thing that ever happened.
So they'll get to pick whatever they want on the back of their jersey again. Players Weekend.
I think so.
Like our next guest, he might have Shusty on the back of his jersey on Players Weekend. And there he is. We've got Jordan Shusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue, our weekly conversation presented by Grand Ole Barbecue. Good morning, Jordan. How are you?
Hey, guys. Good to see you. Sorry I was late. I was busy on my own podcast talking about the San Diego Padres, one of the best teams in baseball.
I hate to interrupt that. Go back and go finish it. We were just talk as much about the Padres as you want.
Bro, I love your I haven't seen you in forever. I was in Hawaii. I've been gone. I missed you. You're fantastic. And I love your at the bottom there. It says #1 Brian Hoeing fan. No, you're number 2 Brian Hoeing fan. Because
we love Brian Hoeing.
We love Brian. What a find. What a grab from AJ Preller. Yeah. I had heard some really good stuff about him before he got here, and he has delivered so far.
Yeah, and the reason why I wanted to obviously spend 20 minutes this morning talking about Brian Hoeing is that is not, it's not, I mean, it's easy to say now, right? 9 scoreless innings, whatever. But I think one of the most inexcusable things for the deadline of any team, I said this about multiple teams, I said this about Seattle, is that relievers are out there to be had.
Yeah.
And so it's not a small thing to just add another one to your trade. And we understand that the reason why the trade package was so big was for Tanner Scott, but it was also for a reliever in Brian Hoeing who, while his numbers were pretty good in Miami this year, with team control, that's part of that too.
Yep.
And if you can add capable guys, it just takes so many pitchers to get through a regular season, let alone what we're talking. We spend so much time about how does this bullpen so scary in October. You got to get there first. And I think that he's helped kind of bridge the gap where the rotation, as we know, still certainly has some questions. And I think that guys like him are so important for bridging those fifth, sixth, and seventh innings. You don't notice them as much because it's not the ninth, but it really is so important. I think that was huge for them to get him.
I remember growing up, and the Yankees had a guy named Ramiro Mendoza, and that dude was just so under the radar. But when Ramiro Mendoza came in, it was zeros, and he hung zeros every time to get it to
Mariano Rivera,
but like even more, get it to the Graham Lloyds, the Jeff Nelsons. Somebody went out and had a bad start. Ramiro Mendoza came in, hung zeros. Yankees come back. Those guys are so undervalued, Jordan. They're so undervalued.
And it's something the Padres didn't really have this year until they found Brian Hoeing.
Yeah, he's the only one that jumps out of my mind right now. But I know that there are hundreds throughout baseball history.
Yeah, and especially because they had these starters, like these kind of swingman types where you thought they could fill those roles, whether it's a Brito or a Vasquez, right? But it's like sometimes that works out, or like Enyel, honestly, before trade. Like sometimes those guys work out, but it's even better if they're already used to being relievers, because then you're not just being like, oh, it's easy. Like this guy normally throws 4 or 5. We'll just have him throw 2 innings in the middle of the game. It doesn't always work that easily. When you have a guy that's more used to being a reliever, it definitely helps. So yeah, man, it's good. I think that is definitely an underrated part of that deal.
So Jordan, yesterday we did our round table, our weekly commercial-free hour with all the hosts, and I threw out a bunch of different questions. We had our draft, and basically it's a question. Everyone has to give a different answer, but the question was, you have $100, but you have to bet it right now on one team to win the World Series. Who are you picking? And because I think it's a really tough question right now. Earlier in the season, there were some clear favorites. Now, there's like 9 teams, and I can make a pretty good case for all of them.
Yeah. So I think I would still say the Phillies, which is kind of a boring answer. But I thought you were going to say something more NL West related, but maybe we'll get into that too.
We will, but no, the Phillies have the second worst record since the All-Star break. They've been just dropping like a stone the last month.
It is very true. However, when you still look at the roster and you just try and find the roster that, like, when they're at their best has the fewest holes. Some of these other teams like Cleveland, like with the great record, like I'm still looking at their rotation. I just say, I don't know. I don't understand. Like the ceiling for Cleveland's rotation to me is just lower. The ceiling for Baltimore's bullpen is lower. The ceiling for the Yankees, I would say their pitching at this point too is questionable. Whereas the Phillies, we've seen them operating at full strength, and they have some of the best starting pitching in the league, and they have one of the best lineups in the league when it's all clicking, and they have a bullpen that has been improved enough to where there are some questions there, but not as much as some of these other teams. So I don't feel great about it. Right, Houston, a team that's looked awesome recently, is another team that I just still have a lot of questions on the mound, in terms of the starting rotation. So maybe it's just a matter of a year. Jake wrote this week, and we talked about on the podcast about, and this is related, right? We're probably not going to have a 100-win team this year for the first time in 10 years. And that kind of speaks to what you're getting at, because normally we can default to a Dodgers, to a Braves. And I wouldn't be surprised if a healthy version of the Dodgers kind of gets back up into that conversation. But they have questions too, certainly, and I like to think that makes it more fun this time of year.
It sure does, man. And we're talking to Jordan Shusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue, and we've been saying it like crazy. If you had told me right now that the San Diego Padres would be a couple of games back of the Los Angeles Dodgers, I would at this date I would have said you're absolutely nuts. There's no way. We're just,
what the hell happened?
Yeah, we're just playing for a wild card at this point, and now. Not only is the division, in reach, Jordan, it's attainable. It really is. And you look how maybe they're pitching sometimes. You look at how the Padres are pitching and hitting, and you go, yeah, it's absolutely attainable. I'm not going to lose my mind if they don't win it, but it's certainly right there for them, man. And Diamondbacks, though, the Diamondbacks are a team that really, really scare me. I don't watch enough to say, oh, well, it's very clear why this is happening. Very clear why it's happening. A lot of things are going their way as well, just like they are for us. We're getting a lot of breaks go our way, but they're a pretty terrifying team. If I'm the Dodgers, I'm sweating a little bit.
Totally, and that's what makes this race so interesting. And I wrote about the D-backs today at Yahoo, and my colleague Russ Dorsey wrote about the Padres, so we kind of had both of them covered. But talked about both of those teams in the pod today. That's the thing is for so long, the Padres, or at least recently, and I know we know what happened with the Diamondbacks last year in the postseason, but we weren't thinking about them in that context during the regular season. But at the same time, they were the D-backs. What's interesting is also the difference between how they've charted their regular seasons. Last year, they peaked a lot earlier. It seems weird now to remember the D-backs were in first place early July last year.
Yeah.
And they really bungled it with the terrible July and August, and then ultimately snuck in, and we know what happened after that. But that's what I mean. I'm just you were running through the schedule, and I gotta give you credit, Ben. Boy, man, I am as big of a dork as it gets. I can't do tiebreaker math. I can't do it. I cannot.
It's one of my specialties.
My eyes glaze over a little bit when he starts because I don't follow.
I don't even want to think about the word tiebreaker until like the last 3 days. So credit to you, and I know that.
Well, it never existed in baseball before. It just went to a game 163, but they don't do that anymore. So
Jordan, I know, and that's
in the old days when football season and every team was 9-7, and you had to figure out who gets the wild card. Oh, everyone went right to me. It's definitely my forte. Now, we talked about the contenders that we're not surprised about in the National League. I want to ask you about the one that really is shocking, and they don't talk about it enough. The Milwaukee Brewers lose their manager, lose Corbin Burns, lose Devin Williams. Now Yelich is out for the season with back surgery. They should have been terrible this year, right? I mean, that's what we were all kind of figuring, and yet here they are. They just took 2 more from the Dodgers. They're right there, not only to win a division, but could get the 1 or 2 seed. They're fighting for that as well. How are they doing this in Milwaukee?
Yeah, and I think we've asked similar questions about them and Cleveland and Tampa Bay when you compare those. Now, Milwaukee's been a little bit different because they have had some big money guys. Of course, they invested in Yelich, and he was awesome. And then him going down is terrible because he really was maybe not back to MVP peak, but back to being one of the best hitters, in the National League, one of the best outfielders. How are they doing this is a great question. I do think that we're all collectively underrating their offensive unit. Because they have one of the best catchers in baseball in William Contreras, and that is impacting both sides of the ball. So that's a great example of just like how much having an awesome catcher can impact winning is having someone like William Contreras. But, Rhys Hoskins has generally had Rhys Hoskins. It's been a little bit less, but of course, coming back from injury is no surprise. Willy Adames is a top shortstop. Now that Jackson Chourio is playing like the top prospect he was kind of promised to be. Dude was born in 2004. All right. We could be a little patient if he's struggling a little bit, to start the season. He has been outstanding too. I know I indirectly, started some spice when I tweeted a Twitter poll about which Jackson would you rather have for the next 10 years between Chourio, Merrill, and Holiday. And I was surprised that those results were so lopsided in favor of Holiday, but that speaks to just how awesome Merrill and Chourio have been recently. No disrespect to Holiday, but I do think that offense now will be tested without Yelich, and it already has been recently. And that's where it's like, can this offense continue to be good? And then what in the world is this rotation? Freddie Peralta, who's I feel like the one thing that we could have counted on, has been good. He's been good. He's still racking up the strikeouts, but not necessarily, a Cy Young contender like we thought he maybe could be. And you say they lose Corbin Burns. They traded away Corbin Burns on purpose.
Yeah.
It's not like they're counsel, slipping out the back door and going to the Cubs. Like, no, that was a decision that they made. And Joey Ortiz has been really good for them, but obviously you look at their team right now and you're like, man, they really need Corbin Burns. And so how that kind of manifests itself, that matchup this weekend, Milwaukee and Cleveland, I think there's a ton of parallels between those two teams, both now, how it's gone, and what the questions we have about them moving forward. Really excited to see how that series plays out this weekend.
And man, I'll tell you, when we did this on the roundtable yesterday, I'm looking for odds. I'm looking to get paid here. If I'm taking $100 and I'm putting it on a World Series contender, your Mariners got to pick it up because they've got the starting pitching once they get there. But they're 3.5 out of the wild card right now. Is that right?
And they're playing Skeens today. Is that true?
They got Skeens today.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Guys, tonight is. I tweeted this yesterday. We got Mariners coming off one of the more embarrassing sweeps imaginable. You lose by 100 runs on Tuesday, and then you lose basically identical games on Wednesday and Thursday in just horrific fashion. And now we go to Pittsburgh. And what do you got? You got Paul Skeens. and a Pirates team that has lost 10 in a row.
We need you bad. We need you guys tonight because we want Paul Skeens to get bodied. So Jackson Merrill. Yeah, I mean we're big.
I see where you're getting at with this.
Yeah,
okay,
we're big M's fans. I mean we're natural rivals anyway. The Better Cup and all of that. So we need you guys to handle business.
It would be very baseball for Paul Skeens to get blasted by this lifeless offense. But yeah, I mean, one of these teams is going to somehow feel even worse tonight.
Yeah.
So that's something. But to your point, like the reason you're bringing this up, not just in how can we help Jackson Merrill, is the truth, the sad truth, the aggravating, maddening truth is that they have the best rotation in baseball. At this point, I don't even really think it's particularly close because the Phillies have fallen off. They are so far ahead in every category, in whip, in quality starts, in innings pitched per outing. I mean, they get 14 shutout from Brian Wu and Bryce Miller, who are their 4 and 5 starters, and they lose both games.
Crazy,
right? I mean,
man.
It's an unbelievable luxury that they have built and deserve credit for building, and that they can't find an offense to support it is both ridiculous and very appropriate yesterday on the anniversary of Felix Hernandez's perfect game.
Yeah, it's like mind-numbing if you're an M's fan. I mean, you've got what it takes to absolutely crush teams in the postseason.
I was just up there last weekend. We were watching Mets and Mariners at T-Mobile Park, and all my buddies were all super hyped on this team.
That was the best they've looked all season was last weekend. And that's the thing. So many of these good teams were saying, who's starting the second game of the postseason? Mariners got 5 guys. You're like, yep, sounds good.
Yeah,
all right, let's 100%. Do it.
But does anybody know which team has the lowest team ERA since the All-Star break? The only sub-3 team ERA since the All-Star break?
I think I know where you're going.
Is it your Padres?
It is the San Diego Padres have the lowest ERA since the All-Star break right there. So maybe some competition with those Seattle Mariners. Jordan, appreciate it as always. Have a good couple of weeks. We'll chat with you when things are really starting to get intense right around the start of September again.
Oh, yeah. Hey, guys, go beat the Rockies.
All right, we got it.
We're
going to
beat
do
the
it.
Rockies.
Such a challenge for us. It really is. Really is.
Thank you, guys.
Jordan
Always
Shusterman, Cespedes Family Barbecue, brought to you by Grand Ole Barbecue, our friends. Next time you're at the ballpark.
Had it.
You did. I saw you out there. Simply the best.
Both.
What'd you guys have?
Best. Had the pulled pork sandwich.
Very nice.
Delicious with the spicy mustard. Oh, Maron, so good.
Outstanding. Or if you're not at the game, North Park or out in Flint Springs, always the best spot for barbecue in San Diego. By the way, he mentioned it. We haven't brought it up yet. Jackson Churio doing big things, born in 2004. You see the pitcher who was born in 1980 who's back in the big leagues again, or at least in the minor leagues.
Dick Mountain.
He is.
He's back.
Not with your San Diego Padres this time. We'll get to that and more coming up with Ben and Woods. Don't go away. Reindl Report and Mike Shildt all ahead on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
praying that my kids don't get wind of the Jackson Merrill glow-in-the-dark Star Wars lightsaber bat that he's going to be using for Players Weekend.
Because then they're going to want one.
Yeah, dude.
And just buy him one.
Well, and
$8,000.
I mean, don't think my wife won't go out and do it. It's bananas. You know that we were watching the Little League World Series last night. Do you guys watch any of that?
No, but I got a story in the Reindl Report.
I've been there
good.
4 times, so yes, I have watched a lot of Little League World Series in my time.
Do you know that there's batting gloves for kids now that are, you know how much they cost? Cost $100.
Oof.
Batting gloves for kids.
Oh, yeah. $100 for kids. They're going to grow out of them. I can't remember the name of them, but they come I saw them at Dick's, and they come in a bag.
What makes $100 batting glove? $100. Like I use golf gloves.
Yeah.
And I get like 3 for $16 at Costco.
Yeah, you do. The Kirkland.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with them. You could probably use them for baseball, right?
I use Callaway because I'm team Callaway.
That's true.
I'm a brand loyalist. $100. They have bolts on them. They look like lightning bolts, kind of.
Is it actual lightning? Are they electric?
Bruce Bolt. That's it. I was there, and I was with Bo and Taylor and Hannah. And I picked up this bag, and I saw it said Bruce Bolt on it, and I picked it up, and I went,
"Who's Bruce Bolt?"
I have no idea.
I'm looking at Dick's Sporting Goods right now.
$100, right?
Yeah, $75, $95, $105.
Yes.
Good God.
Do the kids do they have the oven mitts for sliding yet?
Yeah.
Can you buy
so
those?
The answer to your question is, when you mean the kids, you mean other kids?
Well, I mean, like,
because my kids will never use the oven mitts.
Will you see those at a little league or even a high school game now, where they put on the sliding oven mitts?
Oh, we were at camp, and at baseball camp this summer, and this kid would hit a single and reach into his back pocket and pull and his dad was just wearing him out. Get that sliding mitt on, bro. Make sure to get the sliding mitt on. I was dying. Now, none of these dudes slide head first, so they're just doing it because that's what the big leaguers do.
Wait, they're wearing sliding mitts and then going in
sliding
first?
Yes. Yes.
The sliding mitts just up in the air?
We're at Dick's the other day. Yes, the sliding mitts up in the air. And they're sliding it first. And I was crying laughing. And we were at Dick's and Bo was looking at it. I go, don't even ask. Don't even ask. He goes, I'm not. And I go, well, good. Don't. And I looked at Hannah and I go, don't even think about it. Don't even think about buying these guys sliding mitts for the love of God.
I'm not going to. So quit asking.
Yes. Yeah. Dad, I want Bruce bolts and sliding mitts.
I'm not going to. So quit asking.
It's not happening. Bo doesn't even use batting gloves, dude. He's kind of old. He's got a little flair, but he's kind of old school too. But I couldn't believe it. Every kid had like the $500 bat. I mean, it was nuts watching this. And I'm looking at Hannah. You can just see her eyes get wide. And I'm like, please don't do this. Do not do this. It's me now turning the tables on her. Don't do this. You idiot. You moron. Please don't do this. It's pretty nuts.
I mean, I'm assuming. I never really talked to big leaguers about the sliding mitts, but so they do really protect you from injury? That's the purpose, right? You're sliding in. Do you not jam your fingers? Is it if you get spiked? I mean, are they like steel-toed, like steel-toe boots at the end? If someone steps on them, are you going to be safe? How do they work?
I've never put one on, and I will say this. I know Adult League gets a lot of...
You look like you're about to take a casserole out of the oven.
That's exactly right.
Is what it looks like you're trying to do.
Adult League gets a lot of crap. But and you see guys wear an arm guard, which is fine. I fouled one off my foot the other day. I've never done that. And I've never worn any sort of like armor at all, but we have guys that wear that because they don't want to get hit in the elbow and stuff. I will say, Paulie, I've never seen a sliding mitt out there. Have you?
No.
Ever. I've never seen one.
I know they sell them.
They sell them, yeah.
I see them on the racks right there at Dick's Sporting Goods.
I hope I don't. But yeah. So anyway, $100 batting gloves is the thing now. You're so lucky your kids aren't in Little League. You wouldn't buy it. You're not going to.
No, I mean they did Little League, but they didn't have gloves. Yeah. I mean they had mitts, but they didn't have batting gloves or anything when they did Little League. No chance.
Somebody on the Tier 1, the Tier 2 team, they wear them. T-Mac wears them. Come on, bro. Embarrassed right now.
Now I'm on the Victus website. Am I right? Did Tatis kind of put them on the map?
Yes.
They were just a low-level brand before Tatis.
I don't know that they were low-level.
I don't remember seeing a lot of Victus before Tatis.
They're good bats.
So you can get, it says locked in the vault, but they do have the lightsaber bat.
How much?
$320.
Maybe it's not the kids they need to worry about. Maybe it's their old man. Actually, no. The lightsaber is not. It looks cool though.
They also have they have the pencil bat.
Looks like a pencil.
Victus.
The problem with the glow in the dark bat is that you never play baseball in the dark.
Yeah.
It is something that you absolutely need lighting for. You know, you can't do even in golf. There's those glow in the dark balls, and you will occasionally do that. You don't want to try to hit a fastball coming at you in the dark.
Jocelyn, who's very involved in the league, says this is incredible.
Oh boy.
We had a kid who rubber banded a Dollar Tree kitchen mitt to his arm. We would yell, "You're cooking, bro!" His mom was horrified. I feel like if I was a kid, my dad would have made me do that. He would have made me.
But they don't
rubber
prevent
band.
injury. I'm assuming
not that one. The other ones have plates in them.
I'm assuming there's some. Yes, though. So there is some plating in the finger area of those sliding gloves. And it's not just a soft padded glove like an oven mitt.
Have you ever slid head first in your life, Paulie? I don't think I ever have.
Yeah,
Is the protection from injury more than the?
It's sliding into the bag.
But isn't it harder to hold onto the bag and grab it and keep yourself from sliding off when you have that on there? Because guys do that. They overslide the bag and they're trying to reach and grab and hold on to the bag.
Doesn't it give you extra length?
A little bit, a little tiny bit.
A tiny bit. I would think it'd be a lot. It's interesting. What a brave new world we live in. That's so good. All right, well, listen, how much for the Jackson Merrill bat? They're not selling it yet?
It says locked in the vault, so I'm not sure if they're going to release it after Players Weekend or something. But yeah, you can get the blue glow in the dark May the 4th be with you bat for $320.
$320. Joey has called it. If Jackson Merrill homers with that bat, they need to, with Robert Suarez's intro, immediately turn all the lights off and have him do a big flip of the bat where it's then flipping glow.
They're not going to do that in Colorado.
Oh, that's a good point.
But
you're going to have to bring that bat home.
Yeah, I'm going to have to use that at home at some point.
All right.
We'll come back. Paulie's got a Reindl report for us, including some interesting Hollywood casting news that came out yesterday that had a lot of people fairly surprised at the decision of who was going to play John Madden in the John Madden story.
I mean,
I love it.
It's pretty identical casting if you think about it.
I love it.
Coming up next here on 97.3 The Fan.
Is this Great White or Led Zeppelin? Which one? Led Zeppelin?
This is Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin, I thought so. The music doesn't sound the same when Great White plays it, but the vocals sound as good. Played some of that earlier, in case you missed it. Shout out to his family.
We've got Reindl Report coming up, and then don't forget, top of the hour, it's FRIAR Friday. Mike Shildt will be with us from Colorado. And, we've been kind of figuring out what to ask Mike Shildt. Things are going really, really well.
Yeah, you don't want to mess it up, right?
Well, not mess it up, but
Jinx it.
It's definitely easier to, when something goes wrong, explain this, explain that.
Sure.
Those are common, easy questions to go to. But, things are going really well. I mean, we've got it's going to be a fairly positive interview.
Let's just shoot the breeze, man.
Let's
just shoot the breeze and talk about, 18 and 18 and Fernando Tatis Jr. potentially coming back.
We'll see if we were supposed to get, the Padres said the next update was coming around mid-August on Tatis. So we're here on August 16th.
Literally as mid as you can
of
get.
August. Maybe they have some new news. I know he was in Arizona while they were on the road trip working out. He's back with the team with the last few days. Is he with them now? Is he staying home? I don't know. We'll see if we can get an update from Mike Shildt on Fernando Tatis Jr., who is sitting right there. We talked about a little bit in the roundtable. The return of Fernando Tatis Jr. is nothing but a positive for the Padres. He would be replacing a platoon of David Peralta and Bryce Johnson, which is done. They've done a really good job of filling in, but they're not Fernando Tatis Jr. No one is, but it's the one area of the roster where you really can improve right there.
Well, the cool thing, too, is with a guy like Peralta playing as well as he has, Fernando Tatis Jr. is coming back from a pretty serious injury. So you feel pretty good about what you have in case he does need a day off.
And the good thing about Peralta being left-handed is that you can give Tatis a couple days off against righties and feel real good about Peralta in the lineup those days.
Don't forget Bryce Johnson, a switch
Bryce
hitter.
Johnson
switch
will be,
hitting witch.
When Tatis is back, Bryce Johnson's spot on the roster is somewhat tenuous.
I would say so.
I mean, he will be valuable for pinch running situations, but they also have Tyler Wade.
Tyler Wade for that.
Who's already valuable for that. So that's definitely a decision that's coming. Not yet, but soon for your San Diego Padres. First, though, check traffic, and then Paulie will get into his headlines with today's Reindl Report next year on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Still a few problems here, guys. Traffic alert remains in effect for this fatal collision in the South Bay, northbound side of the 805 past Telegraph Canyon Road. It's got the two left lanes blocked. Fire crews responding to a small brush fire northbound 5 near 28th Street. Some smoke visible from the right shoulder. On the coastline, got this overturned crash southbound 5 just past Encinitas Boulevard. 3 left lanes are blocked for you there. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh, boy.
I don't know what to do.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
I'm really in a pinch here. Radio Woods says we have to take the call.
Let's pop them on. Before we get to the Reindl Report.
We're hijacking the Reindl Report.
Is this the Steven Coronado? Steve, are you there?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Paul, and hi, Steven.
Hey, buddy.
Hi,
How you doing?
Steve. How are you?
I'm doing just a shade above phenomenal. Thank you.
Now, I picture you right now either sitting in front of your piano or in the backyard working on your bunting. That's just based on the evidence that I have. That's what I picture.
I'm about 10 inches away from one of my piano keyboards.
Beautiful.
2 other keyboards are about 5 feet away. And
Excellent.
Guitars and ukuleles and stuff like that.
Well, I'm a fellow musician, and I'm going to tell you this, Steve. I'm also a fellow bunter. And you know why I loathe bunting so much? Is because it reminds me of the crappy hitter that I was, the unconfident hitter that was so afraid to get in the box and said, let me lay down a bunt so I can get a pat on my fanny. Attaboy, Woodsy, way to give up and out. We admire so much your commitment to the bunt. And Ben, I think, made the point on Twitter with you, Steve. The Padres have been pretty good at it this year.
Yes. I've been shocked. Higgy laid down a bunt the other day.
Yes, they're all doing it well.
Everybody's doing it well, man.
Remember when Jake Cronenworth got his second bunt? How fired up he was.
Yes.
This is why we can't say anything to Mike Shildt.
That's right.
He already is, wondering about us, and now we bring this up, and I don't know, Steve. This is
how about this? I think we're all in agreement. We want this Padres season to last forever.
Yes.
And the way for it to last forever is to play in the World Series and win the 2024 World Series.
100%. 100%.
Maybe you could entertain one question to Mr. Mike Shildt. Ask Mike Shildt, does he know if any major league team grades the players on their ability to lay down a suicide squeeze bunt with trends and having that chart in their dugout?
Just because you asked so nicely and have been so persistent, there's no chance, Steve. I'm not asking him that either. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
I'll do it. I'll wear it. I'll do it. That's fine. That's fine. I'll do it. I'll do it for you, Steve. I'll do it.
Because, wow, in crucial playoff games in the World Series, with a runner at third with less than 2 outs, we got to have that run.
I will do it. I'll ask him.
All right,
I will ask him. It's coming up.
All right,
Thank
Steve.
you, Steve.
Coming up. Thanks for calling.
What a gem he is. I love it. What a great dude.
Sorry,
right.
Paul. Thank you for pausing
for
a moment there.
That had to be done.
All right. You see it all the time. Somebody catches a monumental baseball at a game. They trade it with the player for a bat or just a chance to meet the player. Usually it's, a milestone. First hit, first home run, first, whatever. Had something happen yesterday up in San Francisco, McCovey Cove. There's a guy named McCovey Cove Dave who is out there literally every night.
Every game.
Every game.
Yeah, it is kayak.
He is out there. And Michael Harris of the Braves hit a grand slam yesterday, and the Braves wanted to get that ball back.
First grand slam, right?
I believe that is true. His first grand slam. And yeah, first career grand slam, and it was in the water. McCovey Cove Dave paddled his kayak over, and he grabbed the ball. The Bally Sports South broadcast, they asked for an update on whether or not the Braves were able to get that ball back. They were not. And here's why.
Hannah Yates, did they ever get that baseball back?
Well, Brandon, last night we did talk about a local Giants fan who refers to himself as McCovey Cove Dave. He sits in a kayak down in that cove every game on the water trying to retrieve a ball that might make its way in. He was able to recover Michael Harris's grand slam ball. And so afterwards, 2 Brave staff members went outside, just asked him, well, hey, it would mean a lot to him. We want to gift it to him in case it. And he said no. They asked what it would take in terms of negotiation, and he said nothing, going to my grave with this ball. It's the first grand slam ball that I've ever recovered. Then he started responding to fans with a selfie with that ball on his social media account saying, well, small gesture, there's one thing. And so Brave said, what is that? And he said, well, I want to be a Giants team employee. So not necessarily a small gesture there, but Michael Harris says, well, it sounds like I'm just going to have to hit another grand slam.
So Dave is not making many friends in the Atlanta clubhouse or in the Atlanta area.
Boo to Dave.
Boo to Dave. My man said, I will give the Braves this ball back if I can get a job with the San Francisco Giants.
And coincidentally, the Giants have just announced they've let Bob Melvin go as manager. He will be replaced by McCovey Cove Dave
I think
for
San
the rest
Francisco
of the season.
celebrates based on what I see on Twitter, if that's the case. I mean, it'd be one thing if it were a Giants player and he caught it, and they said, we'd like to get that ball back, Dave. And he said, fine, give me a job. But what do the Braves care?
Right.
Braves, what are they going to do? Farhan, hi. This is, Bill. From the,
Alex Anthopoulos.
Yeah, it's Alex Anthopoulos here. Any chance you can give McCovey Cove Dave a job? We'd like to get that Michael Harris grand
Something
slam
in your
back.
scouting department, maybe, or
I mean, you got to shoot your shot. Tyler says it's called leverage. Yeah,
I mean,
he doesn't have any leverage.
Sounds
There's
like
no
you have a better chance of getting that ball back from Zach Hampel than you do from McCovey Cove Dave.
No kidding. I'm taking it to my grave with me. Yeah, junior GM to the next level, says the Deep Fryer podcast.
I mean, is there a position like ball recovery team that he can be the official Giants ball recovery team?
Give you a shirt.
McCovey Cove ambassador.
Yes, perfect. Perfect.
So yesterday I'm on Instagram, I'm scrolling around, and Barstool Sports posted a screenshot of a batting lineup from the Little League World Series, the Staten Island, New York lineup. And the caption was, Staten Island Little League World Series lineup looks like an extras list from The Sopranos. So we'll put it up here on the stream, and we can just go through it. Leading off at third base, they have Vin Ruggiero.
Yep.
Ruggiero.
Or Ruggiero.
Yeah.
Steven Grippo is the pitcher. Peter
Giacco
is the catcher. Jake Romero is playing first bat and cleanup. Chase Curro is in center field. Alex Torres at short. Dean Scarangello in right
Zach
field.
Weiss.
Zach Weiss.
Joe Irachi, Dylan DeGata, Nicky McLean, and Jason Rocchio. Hey, there he is.
Hey.
Italian Paul seething
This
right now.
this team, instead of hot dogs after the game, it's all gabagool.
It's gabagool, cannoli. God, that's so good.
No idea if they won or lost.
Steven Grippo. Peter Giacco.
Finally, to pay off Ben's tease here quickly, we got like a minute or two. John Madden has a biopic coming out from Amazon MGM Studios, and they have casted one Nicolas Cage to play John
The
Madden.
Nick Cage.
The Nick Cage.
Leaving Las Vegas, Con Air, National Treasure, Nick Cage.
I mean, it's identical if you really think
all
about it.
three of us look much more like John Madden than Nick Cage does.
Yeah, but there's Hollywood makeup. Is it young John Madden? Because
So-
I
Well,
can
I'm
see
sure
that.
it's younger than
So I don't know.
old John Madden.
So David O. Russell, he was the guy
He's
who made
great.
Silver Linings Playbook.
He's
He
brilliant.
made American Hustle. I think he made The Fighter as well. So this is not really
you know what?
the
The
life.
nose,
It's good, I
the
think.
nose is not bad, actually.
So this won't be like a movie on the life and career as much of John Madden. It's going to be actually about the genesis of the Madden video game.
That's weird. I'd rather have a biopic on John Madden.
I need to
think.
hear Nicolas Cage go.
Oh, boom!
Boom!
Yeah.
Tough acting, 10 acting.
It's gonna be that. Him doing the voice is going to be so good. Yeah, we'll have that. We'll have the preview as soon as it's out.
Oh,
we'll play it. Yeah, I can't wait.
JR, and I saw this a couple times yesterday, says, this would have been Philip Seymour Hoffman's.
Oh, you
that
would've
just
nailed
perfect
it.
for him.
Yeah,
Nailed
that's a good
it.
call.
Which would have been the
It
best.
says not a biopic of the man in the typical way, nor a sports drama. Rather, Madden is in part, according to sources, a video game movie. It's the origin story of Madden NFL, one of the biggest video game franchises of all time.
I am a huge Nick Cage fan. My wife is not. We were watching a Nick Cage movie with the kids. I was watching a Nick Cage movie with the kids the other day, and she got really upset. She doesn't like Nick Cage.
Just got upset about
I can't
it.
even remember which one it was. It wasn't like one of the, it wasn't like Leaving Las Vegas.
Was it National Treasure? That's
No,
a
it
good
wasn't
kid-
National
That's a
Treasure.
good kids kind of
No.
movie.
I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
She's
Bo would love National Treasure.
Yeah, 100%. She's not a Nick Cage fan, and I am a huge.
I have to steal the Declaration of Independence.
Huge Nick Cage fan.
He does have an affectation
He's
in
great.
a lot of his roles.
He is so
It doesn't
good.
sound at all like John Madden, but I mean, if he's an actor,
yeah,
he can pull it off.
He's brilliant. Brilliant. All right, it's time.
Raised a lot of eyebrows though when the casting was announced.
I like it.
Nick Cage is John Madden.
Yeah, Raising Arizona is brilliant. You ever see Raising Arizona?
Yeah,
Okay.
Coen Brothers.
Yep, it's really good.
Raising Arizona.
All right, here we go.
All right,
I'm gonna do it, by
Weekly
the way.
conversation.
You don't have to.
I'm going
The
to do
Mike
it.
Shildt, the bunting question, and much
more.
more
You don't have to.
on our FRIAR Friday Managers Report, which will kick off our final hour of the week as the Padres get ready to open a 3-game series in Coors Field against the Colorado Rockies later today. 5:40 first pitch, 4:40 Eco Water SoCal pregame show. More Ben and Woods with Mike Shildt coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Padres baseball is back tonight after a day off and beginning a stretch of 18 games in 18 days. Padres are right in the thick of things, 2 games behind the Dodgers in the NL West, tied with the Diamondbacks atop the wild card standings. And it is time right now for our manager's report, brought to you by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking, it's better. And joining us from Denver, Colorado, side of Coors Field, Padres manager Mike Shildt is with us. Mike, it is good to have you on. Congratulations on, again, another great week. The team is playing great. How's everything going?
It's going well. How about yourselves?
We're pretty good. We're enjoying watching your team play. I mean, best ERA in baseball since the All-Star break, best batting average. You've been talking about marrying those two together since early in the season, and now we get to see what it's like. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, it's a group effort, 1 through 26. Everybody contributing, everybody on point, everybody doing their part. So it's fun. It's a great group.
I got to get this one out of the way, Shilty, because we've got a listener. His name is Steve from Coronado, and his emails may have found his way to you at some point, but he is obsessed with the art of the bunt. And the San Diego Padres have done a really good job. I think all of your guys, to a man, when needed to and called upon to lay down a bunt, have really executed this year. And it's kind of been a big part of the game. But he has been wearing us out to ask you: Do you grade your players on their bunting abilities? Is there a grade, a color code,
like a system of some sort
to grade your players on bunting? That's all he wants to know. And I told him I will ask him.
This has been going on for months.
This has been going on for months, by the way.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's been, we talk about being a holistic offensive machine, and a big part of that, or a part of that, is being able to do what the game calls for, as Toddy says, which I love. And bunting's part of that,
Sure.
And you be able to see the game, play the game. Mike McCoy, who's one of our hitting coaches, has also has been, has taken the responsibility, done a nice job with working with the bunters every day. We don't have any really color codes. We just we just work on it.
Yeah,
guys spend the time on it, some more than others, on the part of their game. But we expect everybody to be able to execute in whatever the situation calls for, and if it calls for a bunt, then it's there for him, whether it's a hit or sacrifice or safety squeeze.
And I think that will satisfy him.
I hope so.
I think he just wanted to know that there was a dedicated coach.
I've been telling him.
We've been telling him.
Yeah. They lead the baseball in bunting. It's great.
It is. It's been great, and the offense is obviously clicking. Shilty, I wanted to ask you this, just kind of a general question. With everything going on, the winning streak and winning a bunch of games in a row, and do you ever find yourself? Do you give yourself a moment to kind of stop and take it all in? And I think one of the things that stands out to me is like when Robert Suarez walks in to close out a game and the lights go out, the music comes on. I realize there's still, there's the potential of another half inning if something goes bad, and you got to be planning for that. But do you give yourself a moment as the manager to go, "Whoo, this is pretty exciting"?
You appreciate and enjoy the triumph the club has. You celebrate with them. You know how much hard work, dedication, effort goes into players to perform, and so you get, you step back and just appreciate a nice play or a big hit, or a guy making good pitches, or stepping up in a high leverage situation. So you do appreciate that, but for the most part, you kind of got to stay on point, yourself, because you got a responsibility too to be ready for any and everything. And but Suarez, it's cool what they do when he comes in, to close it down. But I'm just excited that we get the opportunity to bring Robert in to win a ball game.
Mike, I mentioned how tight the standings are right now, but I as you look on the field, whether you guys are playing the Guardians or the Orioles or the Brewers or the Dodgers, your team is certainly right there with all of them, which means, in my mind, you guys are contenders going forward. Now, you've been a part of a championship organization before with the St. Louis Cardinals. Do you see some similarities between some of those top Cardinals teams that were there at the end that won a World Series and the team that you have right now?
Yeah, I do. It's something we continue to strive for, and that's just normalizing excellence of, in competitions, relative to regardless rather of who we're playing, or what the circumstances are. Day game, night game, road, home, opponent. We're going to be aware of and respect our opponent, obviously, but it's really about what we do, how we do it, and how we do it together, and how we execute. So, and there's just a consistent dedication that sounds easy, but it's a real challenge to bring it to that degree every day, regardless of environment, for the length of what is a long season. But it is a separator for guys individually and for teams collectively, and it's a trait that winning clubs have.
You're talking to Padres manager Mike Shildt here on Ben and Woods this morning. You've talked a lot this season about the grit squad, and yeah, I mean, never more evident than in the last week. The blowout squad did show up, and that was a nice one, but the grit squad made up of guys that sometimes don't get everyday opportunities, Shildt, like Tyler Wade. And Paulie and I were down there. We ran into the other day, was watching him and his pregame work, and you talked about how crisp all of the guys are every single day, whether or not they're in the lineup, because they never know when they're going to be called on. And you really have gotten contributions from so many of those guys. When you think grit squad, who are a few of those guys that pop up in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. You just mentioned one of them for sure. It's a 1 through 26 man roster. They're all like that. The guys that and again, I respect the heck out of all of them. But for Wadey to not play as much as I'm sure he'd probably like, but accepts the role that he has, fits in nicely when he gets called upon, in the roles that he's been allowed and given. Been fantastic. Solano, same deal. Look up, Brian Hoeing's done a nice job coming in, being able to pick up innings in different areas. Been really tremendous. Brian Reynolds came in the other day for a clean 8. So anyway, it's just a bunch of guys really looking to compete and stay ready for whatever the situation calls for.
And I get the sense when you say grit squad that you also mean, Manny and Xander, sure, and the guys who have been there and done that before. Yeah, 100%. It's not just the guys that are coming off the bench either. It's the whole team. And
no, it's not. It's a team. It's grittiness that, actually it can be applied as much to those guys as anybody, because grit means it's got probably a lot of different connotations for people, but for me, it's about, finding a way regardless of circumstances. And to my point earlier about guys that, play every day and are getting after it and competing regardless of circumstances, up, down, home road, like I said. That's a lot of grittiness with that. And that's a heck of a trait.
Talking to Mike Shildt here on Ben and Woods this morning. And listen, you guys have had some pretty gnarly stretches this year as far as games in a row. 18 games in 18 days. Skip, is there what goes into the, I guess, planning of 18 and 18, or is there a reason to sit and try to plot it out when baseball's so unpredictable, right? I mean, how much planning can go into 18 games in 18 days?
There's a combination. Listen, we crystal balls. We do take it one step at a time, but there's some planning that obviously goes into rotation. But who knows when the game starts how things are going to go? There's always going to be twists and turns here or there. There's planning on how we're going to be efficient with our pregame work and how we're going to make sure we're ready to play and have the appropriate mental and physical energy for the games themselves. And then there's the decision about when to give a guy a blow and make sure that we see the narrow focus, and then also look at the bigger picture of what we're looking at from a season. So there's always a little bit of marriage of both.
You talked also this week about your Warriors, and I think that was in the context of when Tyler Wade took it in the face, sliding in at home plate, make sure he scored that run and being ready to go the next day. And Warriors has, like grit, its own connotations. I think to a lot of people it means playing through pain and injuries and working and coming back. And one of those guys that I think is definitely a Warrior is Joe Musgrove. You got him back this week. Obviously, just having any starting pitcher back is huge, and the innings and the outs that he gets. But in particular with Joe, what does him coming back do you feel do for your team to have him in your rotation?
Yeah, we got a clubhouse full of the Warriors, the guys that just show up, play hard. I mean, you mentioned Wade after taking a shot with the nose on the big time base running play, Profar. I mean, just name them. Playing banged up a little bit. But yeah, Joe coming back, he's like the ultimate warrior, man. He's obviously a big physical guy, but he's got the intensity and the heart, to match the presence and make the presence even stronger. He's an impressive guy, and it's good to have him back. He's definitely a warrior for us.
Well, you guys need to, keep doing what you're doing. It's been so much fun to watch. Just the one other guy I'm imagining that would be fun to kind of pencil in the lineup at some point would be Fernando Tatis Jr. I know the fan base misses him. We miss watching him play. I know you do as well. How's he doing? Is there any update on his status?
Yeah, looking forward to him to come back. Definitely a big part of what we've done this year and we're going to do moving forward. And excited to have him back. I don't have any real specific deadline or timeline for you with Toddy. He's good news is he's feeling good, starting to increase some baseball activity. But beyond that, there's no like, hey, this is happening. This particular day, and he's about to go out and get some at bats or anything like that. That's not on the table quite yet. We're getting closer.
No, getting closer.
I like that.
And there's still a month and a half left in the regular season, and hopefully more games after that. Obviously, you guys are in good position, and we're pulling for you. Good luck this weekend. I know Colorado's always, long before you got here, Mike, Colorado's always been a tough place for a lot of teams, but definitely one that the Padres hopefully can get over this weekend, get another series win, and keep moving forward. Good luck.
All right, appreciate it, guys. You have a nice day.
Thanks,
Shildt. Thank you. Mike Shildt, manager of the San Diego Padres. Our Manager's Report brought to you by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking. It is better. You can tell. He loves his guys.
Oh,
Gritty,
yeah, man.
warriors. I mean, those were his words, not ours. I heard him talk about both of those things multiple times this week because they weren't, just because they've won 19 out of 23, it's not come easily. I mean, most of those games, they had to fight tooth and nail. A lot of them had to come from behind wins, dramatic late wins. You need to do a lot of little things right to win those games. So they've had to be gritty, even as they have gone on this run that is unprecedented in Padres history. Never won 19 out of 23 games before. See if you can make it 20 out of 24 today.
And obviously the breaking news from that interview is very clearly that Mike McCoy has been working with the bunters every single day and getting them dialed in and helping them out to improve their bunting.
No color
game.
coding.
No color
I don't
coding.
know if that's Steve's disappointed that there's no color coding.
They use their eyes. They use their eyes, and they
that was a good bunt.
That was a bad bunt. That was poorly executed. That was well executed. That's really all you need.
Yeah.
The guys don't have to go back to their locker and go, oh, God, I got an orange today. Like Bo, my 6-year-old, when he comes home from school, he has either a pink check mark or a orange one or like a red one. He's never gotten a red. Never gotten a red. He usually sits orange. A lot of times he'll bring home a pink, but they don't make them do that because they're professional baseball players. They're not going to give them little report
Whatever
cards.
the green means good.
I don't know.
We're going City Connect.
Yeah, it's like City Connect.
Progress reports from school now.
That's right.
All right, that was Mike Shildt. If you've got some thoughts, you want to join us our last couple of segments, 833-288-0973. Also still have some tickets to give away to Def Leppard and Journey coming to Petco Park at the end of the month. That is still ahead. We'll be right back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. And thanks again to the skipper, Mike Shildt. See if they can have another good week. Starts out tonight, again, 5:40 against the Colorado Rockies. We gave you some of the scores yesterday. Helpful out-of-town scoreboard while the Padres were off, with the Dodgers losing to the Brewers. The Braves lost to the Giants. The A's even helped with a win over the Mets. And I have the key series for you this weekend that will involve National League playoff chases. So the L.A. Dodgers are headed now to St. Louis to take on the Cardinals for 3. The Cardinals have been kind of reeling. Wouldn't mind if they stabilize themselves this weekend and won one or two of those games against the Dodgers to help out. The Diamondbacks hit the road for interleague play this weekend. They take on the Tampa Bay Rays. That's a tough place to play. St. Pete.
Is it? Look at their record at home. There's 14 people there in the stands.
But that can be tough, that lack of people and environment.
That's true. I did hear Mookie Betts and Kenley Jansen say that the 2020 World Series was harder to win because there were no fans in the stands. It's a true statement.
Then again,
it's harder.
There's a team that's used to playing kind of in an atmosphere-free box. It's probably the Arizona Diamondbacks.
It's fair.
Which you can tell they went to the World Series last year, was where they played for years at Chase Field.
The Rays are 59-61. They are 31-34 at home. They have a minus 56 run differential. I'm predicting a Diamondback sweep.
Again, even on the road.
Yes.
Wow, so no chance to catch up any ground there.
Got to keep winning on our end.
The Atlanta Braves are here in Southern California. They'll be taking on the Angels for 3 in interleague play. The Mets host Skip Schumacher's Miami Marlins. Continue to fight even without really major league caliber baseball players on their team.
Yeah, they're also a grit squad.
Maybe
4-6 in their last.
Maybe
10.
Jake Berger can stay.
He is
red hot. That would be nice. Go ahead, hit 3 or 4 more against the Mets, would you, this weekend?
The guy's locked in, man. Locked in.
The Brewers host the Cleveland Guardians. That's a tough series. 2 Midwestern Division leaders battling in interleague play. That's a big one. And then the Nationals and Phillies continue a 4-game series that started yesterday. And I think it's worthwhile now bringing up every team here when you look at the standings, because the Padres right now are just, if you look at the overall National League standings, the Phillies have the best record. They're 71-50. Dodgers 71-51, half game back. Brewers 69-52, 2 games back. And then it's the Diamondbacks and Padres 69-53, just 2.5 games back of the Phillies. 5 teams within 2.5 games for the best record in the National League right now. Remember, those first 2 teams, assuming they're division winners, will get the bye in the first round into the division series of the playoffs.
That is insane. It's insane what's happened. I don't know that we've given it enough credence. It's insane what has happened.
And all 5 of those teams, including the Padres, well, Diamondbacks the lowest, 93.5% playoff chances. Padres 95.6, Brewers 95.7, and then the Phillies and Dodgers are both still over 99% chance to make the playoffs, which means it's down to the Braves at 76%, then it's the Mets drop all the way to 18%, the Giants at 7.4%, and then everybody else has 5% or less chance below them to kind of sneak up and basically just trying to steal that last wild card spot that the Braves currently hold. But they're 4.5 games behind the Padres and Diamondbacks now, and 2.5 games ahead, or 2 games ahead of the Mets for that last playoff spot.
Such a big run here, man. Such a big run in the next 18 days. 18 games in 18 days. Is your body ready? Is your mind ready?
I like 18 games in 18 days.
Save that.
Oh.
I do too. I don't like coming in I don't like coming in when there's no game the night before. You end up talking about Pierre Lecoq and everything else.
I don't like not having a game at night to watch.
100%.
It's part of my daily routine.
What did you watch last night? Oh, you were on staycation.
I was on staycation.
I know what you were doing last night then, if you're on staycation. Paulie, what did you watch last night?
What did I watch last night? I don't remember. I went to bed early.
I was out of it, bro. I was too. Oh, you know what I watched? I watched the 30 for 30 on SMU football. You ever see that one?
Really? No.
Yes.
Like when they got in such trouble and the program got the death penalty and everything?
It was actually riveting. Now, and you compare it to what they have now with NIL, and you go,
They didn't know. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, the guy's like, man, $50,000 in a briefcase, when I walked in the room, and they offered my mom a house, and, Eric Dickerson's gold Trans Am that Texas A&M gave him. And then the next day he ended up signing with the SMU Mustangs, and talking about the SMU coach walking away just as all the sanctions came down. He went to the NFL and started coaching for the Patriots. Bro, it was riveting stuff.
It's funny because there have been a couple of programs. Well, all those big time programs have skirted the rules.
Oh yeah,
there's been a couple that have had their hands swatted harder. Well, SMU above all.
Well, so I didn't.
USC got in a lot of trouble for doing what everybody else was doing as well around the Reggie Bush time.
I didn't know this, but SMU got popped. All right, and sanctioned, and then did it again the next year. And then did it again the year after
Repeat
that.
offenders.
So they're like, all right, man, we've given you 3 strikes. We have to give you the death penalty. Everything they got at the time, they deserved. Absolutely. 100%. And when you watch this thing, you forget, man, when they had Craig James and Eric Dickerson in the same backfield. It was the gnarliest. Like, they just rolled teams. And, one season they're playing, they win like 11 games, and they're ineligible. They can't do anything. So they beat Arkansas. They called it the Polyester Bowl, and they won a Southwest Conference championship, but they couldn't play for the national title. But it was really, really good. Really, really good. So that's one of those ESPN 30 for 30s that popped up, and I was just kind of in the mood, and it was really well done. All those are. I mean, if there's a 30 for 30 on something, it can be about sailing, and you're like,
they didn't make the documentary for no reason.
Correct. Like, it's every one of those is really captivating. So it was really good.
Sports always has it's the great theater and the drama.
Yeah. Oh, and they do such a good job.
And usually there's a huge backstory behind anybody's successes or failures that lends itself to good documentary television.
New bit idea, but we're going to have to wait for 18 days. We need to start telling people what they should watch when
it's
there's
that
no
random
Padres
day.
game.
So they'll play the Tigers, I think it is, in September on Monday, and then they're off Tuesday, and then games 2 and 3 of that series will be Wednesday, Thursday.
And that's because you can't play 21 days in a row.
Yeah.
So for some reason they had to break up one of those series at some point.
So they play the Tigers the day off, then the Tigers again.
Twice more, yeah.
So
It's a 3-game series, so it's game 1,
Labor Day.
off day.
Labor Day.
Oh, yeah, and you don't want to miss Labor Day because that's a big crowd day.
Yeah.
But you can't play all of them in a row because of Major League rules and, the Players Union and how they've orchestrated it. So they just said, we'll take the Tuesday off.
Which would be weird because we have Jesse Aguilar on Tuesdays specifically
No
because they
incorporator.
play every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Except that
for
Tuesday.
when they have
There'll be
a
no
stream.
game that day.
Yeah.
Do we push Jesse back to Wednesday that week,
the
or what do we
answer is
do?
clear.
I think we have to.
The answer
Interesting.
is clear.
All right.
And then
well,
on Monday, we won't be here.
some of the other quirks of the schedule, the Padres have a lot of interleague games left.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of teams do here at this point of the season, but you just mentioned the Tigers. They got the Twins next week. They still have the Astros. They still have the White Sox to play. I mean, that's 12 games right there. They still have 2 more against the Mariners, I think, right, to finish off the Vetter Cup. So that's 14 of their last 40 games. It was about 40% of their remaining games are actually interleague games. Don't know if that makes a ton of sense in the playoff chase when you want to see the head-to-head matchups, but that's what you get when you've kind of balanced the schedule out, that you got to get these games in at some point. And, the Padres still have a bunch of interleague games remaining this season.
Good. All right. Well, one starts tonight. Want to know.
All right, we've got some tickets to give away. Last pair this week. We've been giving away all week long to see Def Leppard and Journey at Petco Park on August 30th. Tickets are on sale at Ticketmaster.com, but you can win 2 more right now. 5th caller at 833-288-0973. 5th caller, 833-288-0973. Hook you up with our last pair of tickets to Def Leppard Journey at Petco Park on August 30th, which presumably is a Padres road game, because, well, you can't do a concert on the same day you do a Padres game.
Right.
I mean, they do post-game concerts sometimes, but this is not one of those.
That's not one of them. This is a big one.
And it's less than 18 days away, so that'll be on a Padres road trip day. All right, we'll come back. Last segment of the week. It's ready. Annie and Elston going to be in at 10 o'clock. And final thoughts on a Friday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Got a winner of our tickets for Journey and Def Leppard, Paulie?
Yes.
All right, we got one. Congratulations
Tom,
to the winner. Tom, all right. Everyone in the chat's wondering whether there was a winner or not. Paulie's pretty good about it. If you don't get the phone answered, if the phone doesn't get answered in the first 60 seconds or so, I'm sorry, it probably wasn't your day, but try again next time we have a prize. Now, while we were on our break, Woodsy got a special delivery into the studio. What'd you get, Woods?
Bag. So I told you guys about our buddy Ricky, who is the Padres trainer.
Ricky Huerta.
Great dude. Ricky has touched places on my body that honestly my wife hasn't touched in a long, long time. It's been a while.
Like your shoulders.
Gets in there.
Yeah, my shoulders. My arm. Yes, my lower back. She's not a big fan of rubbing me down by any stretch. She doesn't give me massages. Ricky does. And
oiling you up and rubbing you down?
Not a fan.
Okay.
She requests it, but doesn't.
It's not reciprocal.
It's not reciprocal. It's not a give and take relationship in that sense.
She doesn't give it back?
No, she doesn't give it back. Pleasure giver. Ricky, his daughter, Juliana, was making those necklaces. And Annie Heilbrunn reported on them.
Xander was wearing it.
And I said, man, my kids would love those. And so I know Ricky, so I texted Ricky and said, hey, I'm coming to the ballpark. I'll take 2.
Price unknown.
Now, I said, I'll take 2. And he said, okay, rad. What colors do you want? So I told him I would like Padres brown and gold. And we talked about it on the air. And Xander bought one, and the Manny bought one, and Jackson bought one. And, they're helping her earn her keep to her class trip up to New York, Boston, D.C. So I saw Ricky. I Venmo'd him. And he goes, dude, I forgot the necklaces. I left them. I'm like, no worries. I'll see you again, dude. I'm not going anywhere. So their marketing director, Chris Connolly, just dropped these off. He had them on his desk because he was coming up here, and so he dropped them off. So I got them. But how I screwed up was, once I talked about it on the air, I had about 40 tier 1s reach out and say, I want 2. Can you get me 4? Woodsy, I want 3. Woodsy, I'm down. How do I get them? Well,
so what did you do? You passed along all the requests to Ricky, and
so I had a conversation with Ricky, and I said, I think I screwed up, man. I said, a lot of our audience wants to get these, and they're in my DMs asking. I said, I don't know how to. She's 13, I think. She doesn't have a website,
right?
And she's not
a staff.
There's no staff. She's making them herself.
Etsy page.
There's no way to. We're having a problem when it comes to distribution.
I see.
Production is fine. Production is good. Distribution is an issue.
Why don't you just go and pick them all up, and from her, and then deliver them out to your tier 1s? You know all your tier 1s. You're going to see them.
You want me to be a necklace delivery driver?
A mule.
Well, that makes sense, right? I mean,
this is not. I just purchased.
They don't know Ricky. I mean, the tier 1s don't know Ricky. You know Ricky, so you are you're the middleman. You're the middleman.
I don't want to deliver necklaces
for Juliana. She's raising money for the class trip.
Why are you? You know me. You know that this would make me feel guilty. You know this.
Pretend it's a period for a jersey.
I'll kill everyone.
That was a great story.
If you haven't heard that story, I am known as not the nice guy, but the guy that's like, all right, yeah, sure.
The pushover.
The pushover. Right, I'll do it. All right, sounds good.
You have trouble saying no.
I do. I always have, Paulie. Always have. Our buddy Stewie got a jersey. Was it a DH gate jersey? Wasn't it like I think it was like a knockoff jersey. Fernando Tatis Jr.
It might have been a Padres jersey, and
they forgot.
An oversight. I don't know.
So he DMs me, hey, bro, you heading down to the ballpark anytime? I was like, yeah, maybe. He goes, can you stop by the team store for me and grab me a period? I said, what? And he said, I need you to grab me a period at the team store. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, they forgot the period on the end of junior.
Junior. So it was just
period.
Fernando Tatis Jr.
Right. And I said, no, I'm not going to drive to the team store to get you a period.
Now, this wasn't like a longtime friend.
No,
or...
I mean, I know him. I played ball against him, with him, but what am I, period delivery man? Uber? It was too much. I'll be honest, it was too big of an ask. And so now I'm having trouble figuring out how to help Ricky, who I love, with distribution here. So I don't know. And then I feel bad because, like, I got mine.
Yeah, you did.
I got mine. So I don't. Hannah wants to see the necklaces. They're awesome. Now I'll just make it even worse on everybody.
Ooh, sparkly.
Yeah.
Nice.
What does Xander say? Xander goes, they look like they could be $25,000. They were not that much. But my kids will love them. They'll wear them.
The sparkles in real life are better than on camera.
Yeah,
They
they're
look really cool.
So
really nice.
Are you going to wear one on Sunday League?
I just don't. No, I will not wear one. These are for the kids. But
I mean, I can understand why you may have to wait. Next time you're down at the ballpark, Ricky has them all in a big bag, and then you take it and you bring them all to the game.
To where?
To the game.
What game?
Tier 1. I thought you said
They're
the
not
tier
for-
1s. Oh, not the tier 1s. Baseball team.
Our
you
audience
just mean
that
the
we
audience.
call the tier 1s.
Oh, I thought it was your
Bro,
baseball
if it was
players
my
that
baseball
want.
team,
Okay.
all I got to do is show up with a bag.
Yeah.
I'm done.
You mean like just general
Needs to
around
hand
San
deliver
Diego?
these all over the county.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm driving.
well,
All right, where do you live? Ramona? All right, I'm on my way. Oh, you want me to put it in the mailbox? Okay. Can I grab you anything while I'm out? Maybe a sandwich. Bring it to you while I'm there.
How about this? All right, here's my solution. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Padres will have a playoff game or two in October.
Yes.
And when they do that, hopefully we will be doing some sort of special show on remote or a playoff viewing party.
Okay.
And when that happens, we'll coordinate with Ricky and Juliana to
I think the trip
fulfill all the orders, and then we'll bring them all to the viewing party / appearance, and that's where the distribution will take place. Does that make sense? Like if you want to order one, you have to be
my
there to
phone's
pick
blowing
it
up right now. People wanting. I'll take two.
You know, while you're doing this, I'll take one.
What if
For a
you
good
were,
cause.
What if Juliana kicked you back like 10%?
I don't want any of her. How about this? I'll just give her the money for her trip.
Dirt bag would you have to be to take that from a 12-year-old girl?
Yeah, he would do it. He would do it in a second. Well, I got to pay for my gas.
Right.
He would do it in a heart. This is.
Part of this
delivery
is,
drivers get paid.
This is a lesson. She's earning money. Part of the business lesson is that you've got business expenses, and if you have a
She's trying to go to New York on a class trip.
delivery
you
is part of the charges that you have to.
Ricky.
Materials, labor. Delivery is part of the business costs that you have to learn about.
Roman just said in the chat, I got one. I'm so excited. You're lying, bro. Don't do this, dude. Man. So I don't know when the trip is. So what if it's before the playoffs?
Well, we can arrange a loan for her, and she can just pay it back in installments.
Again, I will literally, Ricky, just text me the balance.
Very fair
and
interest rate. We can charge a very fair interest rate to Juliana.
Just text me the balance, and I'll just pay it so that everyone leaves me alone. I'll just pay it. I always get myself in these jams trying to do something nice, and my dumbass just forgot to not mention it on the air. Oh, man.
Yeah, how'd you just not said anything?
Well, I liked Annie's story, so I was trying to support our colleague.
Go down to like Michael's. Just buy a bunch of beads and string.
Yeah. Me? Now I have to make necklaces.
Make the necklaces yourself, and then you can just sell them in your own. Paulie can help you set up an Etsy store.
Don't volunteer me.
He's such a delegator.
Why don't you do it?
You do it.
Go
do
sit
one
poolside
thing.
at
What am
Lafayette.
I getting out of this?
Do one
I'm not
thing.
getting. No one's asked me for any necklaces.
What am I
I'm not
getting?
making any money off of this deal. Seems like a you enterprise.
Holy cow, dude. I'm going to end up renting a U-Haul, driving around the county and be like, here you go. Look, I'll say this. I don't know how to... So think about it. Like Ivan says, I want one. All right, let's just say for giggles, we're going to do an appearance. We're going to do an appearance down the road where I can deliver them.
Fish is right. Ben's idea is to set up a competing business.
Sorry, Juliana.
Corner the market, squeeze her out.
A competing business. So think this through. Ivan says, I want one. So what if I then now have to go take everyone's order? What do they Venmo me? I got to give them all Ricky's info. They send it to him. Then he gives me the necklaces. Then I have to distribute them. You have to bring your receipt to AleSmith when we're doing a remote. How do I do this?
Next year, Juliana's going to do a golf tournament to compete with the Ben and Woods Open to raise money, and now we're going to be in the hot water because we're going to have more competition.
She does a Christmas and holiday extravaganza or something. I don't. Ricky, yeah. I mean, Ricky, if Ricky wants to come on the show and promote, I'm happy to do that because I love Ricky. I would do anything for him. In fact, I will pay for your daughter's whole trip. Just give me the stuff.
Just to get yourself out of it.
Get me out of this.
Get you off the hook.
Get me off the hook. I should have probably, you know what I probably should have done? I probably should have just bought 50 of them. And then I could have distributed them out. People could come to the station, you pick it up at the front desk or something. They're all hanging on the doorknob with your name on it.
So drop shipping. You're just going to be
Yeah,
you're gonna do drop shipping.
Yeah, it's the honor bar. I'll do the honor bar. Oh, dude, I am
You get
done.
the reader note. This is a drop shipping scheme from Stephen Woods, taking Juliana's hard work and profiting off of it on social media.
Well,
Great
they,
job.
They turned out great. Oh, Roman said he actually did get one, so she vouched for him. All right, yeah, he figured it out. Holy cow! Well, good luck, Juliana.
Right,
I got my two. I'm not trying to rub it in.
All right, business plans aside, we're going to check traffic one final time, and right out of traffic, things Ben likes to take us home on a Friday.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Robert Half. Authorities have wrapped up their investigation of this fatal collision northbound 805 past Telegraph Canyon Road, so all lanes are now open. Speeds are slowly getting back to normal through that area. Hamashaw on-ramp to northbound 125, a collision also traveling on southbound 15 past Claremont Mesa Boulevard. There is a collision in the center divide. Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows a crash at East County East 8 right before West Main Street. Got a couple vehicles involved. That's over to the right shoulder. And Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
I like good, juicy, sweet strawberries.
I like a good marching band. I like a good thin pancake.
I like a Nickelback song or two.
I like a barbecue chicken pizza. I really like those seeds. I like a midnight buffet. I kind of like the smell of soft scrub. I like more of a small derriere. I like cake.
I like Ed Sheeran.
I like both a hamburger and a cheeseburger. I like clocks. I like how I've kind of set up my life. I like grasshopper pie.
Oh, no, I like it creamy. I like good, firm banana.
I like just looking out at the sea. I like eating.
I like moist.
I like curry.
I like big butts.
I like fried Brussels sprouts. I like more of a firm filling. I like corn.
I like Nordstrom. I do like musicals.
I like pepperoni. I like nice hotels. I like Nick getting a start today. I like nuts. I like Steph Curry. I like that song.
I like Squirt.
I like Saki. I like San Diego State.
I like Straight Up, Paula Abdul.
I like the beef and broccoli. I like to mix it up. I like Science Experiments. I like that song. I like the crispiness of the waffle. I really like cheese. I like the little lunch meat. I like very straight lines. I like cannelloni. I like a well-crafted headline. I like brown sugar. I like maps. I'll say I like Justin Turner.
I like going to golf games. I like diving into chores.
I like sugar.
I do like Butterfinger. I like blue and silver are not bad colors. I like the time change. I like Major League Baseball's new rule. I like the radio. I like geography. I like the knuckle method. I like Skippy. I like pie.
Knuckle method.
And I like Bob Melvin. I really do. I like Jace Tingler, too. I like this day. I like being right. I still do like movie scores. I like good food. I like maps. Right. I like when interviews can turn into organic conversation. I do like a Stouffer's French bread pizza. I like having the wind go through my hair. I think I like shows that the characters have an arc. I like the full lettuce, tomato, onion experience as well. I like those kind of burgers. I like that big overflowing bag of fries. I like those little Smarties rolls. I liked what I saw from Seth Lugo. I liked his competitive fire. I like walking around between the different lands. Steve Kerr, though, I like that. I like living on the coast. I like watching Tiger still. I like the idea of that matchup. I liked what I saw in the preseason. I like the aloneness sometimes of Texas Hold'em. I like watching San Diego State basketball. I like those cashew-buttered cashews. I like cold, clear sake. I like a lot of things. I like Chick-fil-A sauce. I just like rankings. I like Steve Winwood. I like Pie Gal Poker. I like to be informed on subjects. I like Chicago. I like Tom Petty. I like the idea of another left-handed bat in the lineup for sure. I do like a good Matt Damon film. I like being on the same page. I like broccoli. I like Brussels sprouts. I like a lot of things. I like this shirt. I like Wipeout. I liked my omelet. I like San Diego State at home. I like when a baseball player can be more than just a baseball player. I like vanilla. I like the atmosphere. I like the felt on a poker table, just kind of how it feels under your fingers when you're there. I like rhubarb pie. I like the window seat. Changing the subject. I like that. I like just the standard yellow peep. I like how San Diego State's playing right now. I like finer things. I like calling a game. I like fiction more than nonfiction, just like the cream. I actually like playing golf with other people. I've liked everything I've seen so far from Mike Shildt. I like Mexican food. I like just the solar system. I do like steak. I like specifics. I like going to 7 Mile Casino during the day. I like that people are there having a good time. I like my new eating schedule. I liked what I was eating. Yeah, I like the variety of the menu at Sammy's. I do like a good midnight buffet. Ivan in the chat says, I like Ben's beard. Well, hopefully it'll still be around on Monday because, as promised, if the Padres do not lose, I will keep my scraggly nothing beard at least into the next week.
I'd really love it on you.
This is the reason you see it is that I've never kind of done the staycation where I'm off TV so I don't have to shave, but I'm still here where you can see me. Normally I'm back, I shave, I'm back on TV, but I have kept it, and I am now a week in, and I look like Woods does in about 20 minutes after he shaves.
That's true. Remember the last time I shaved my face fully? Remember what I look like? Not good.
It's very jarring.
It is jarring, yeah.
When I walked in the room, Polly's like, oh. it really will make you.
Hey.
It's like, I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, you're literally the worst looking thing I've ever seen. All right, double kiss of the Rally Roach because it's the Rockies. Big one. Big one. Also, by the way, I put in a text to Ricky. I'm going to try to figure out how to get you buffoons some necklaces. And now, let's be honest, I'll probably end up driving around on a Saturday, hand delivering them to you.
Get an ice cream truck so you can make the necklaces.
I texted Ricky. I have no promises, but apparently I'll be working on necklace distribution for the rest of the day.
Everybody, have a great weekend. Annie and Elston are coming up next. That'll do it for us. For our executive producer and imaging director, Paul Reindl. For Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. We'll talk to you Monday with a little Sammy Levitt news for you. Long tease on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.